There are hand gel stations everywhere you turn in the hospital, and people are actively encouraged to use them, installing a huge number of additional hand wash basins. So we are absolutely at the top of our game in terms of infection prevention.
Yes, a very warm welcome to you all, and a warm welcome to Luke Fletcher. He joins me for today's Vitality Blast game against Durham, the last in this year's group stage. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. It's a little sad to be sitting out and probably missing out the rest of the season, but yeah, good to be here watching the lads and supporting them. Hopefully, I think we've pretty much secured that home quarter, haven't we?
Oh,
I think we're close.
Can I confirm that? We're
close. Yeah, we're close.
We've qualified for the quarter-final, and obviously I think we are. You know, we're quietly confident about getting that home. But a win today will obviously secure that. You have been injured, but you've been very busy, haven't you? Come on, let's get it out of the way. You are the latest author from Nottingham. Tell everybody about your book. I'm going to give you a minute to sell your book.
Well, basically, yeah, it's called Tales Behind the Front Line, and it's out on Amazon. And I think Knott's we've got some in the Trent Bridge shop as well. But basically, it was just an idea. It was just basically through boredom in in lockdown. So I got through the first month all right, and then I got a phone call from Dave saying he's keen on writing a book, and was I keen? And at first I wasn't too keen, but then I thought, you know what, we'll pass a bit of time and we'll get it done. So yeah, it's out now on Amazon and also through the club shop. I think it's going to be out with a broader audience through more shops and that a bit later in the year, but you can purchase it on Amazon if you want, and it's quite an easy read, mate. It's a lot of pictures. I mean, I had to read
paint by numbers.
I had to read the book myself, and I've never read a book in my life. But it's an easy read. It's quite a gentle book. You know, it's not too serious. It's a bit like me, really. You know, there's a few laughs in there and that. So hopefully, if you purchase it, you enjoy it.
Good. Well, you took longer than a minute.
Was
so,
it?
Yeah, minute about 30 there. So
well,
you're in the bad books. If we take it back to literally, if we take it back to today's game, the toss has taken place. Durham won that toss, and they have elected to bowl. So Notts will be batting. I mean, this late in the competition, does that really, you know?
No, I don't think so. And I think we seem to have bowled a lot in this competition, especially early. So it's just an opportunity to set the score and then defend as a bowling side. So that'll be good for the bowlers to be put under a bit of pressure if needed be. But you know, you look down that batting lineup, it doesn't matter if you're batting first or second, really. It's a lovely day. The outfield's rapid, as we all know, and it's a small boundary, so I think our batters will be looking forward to going out there.
Now, you always tell me that I don't smile when it's a lovely day.
You
just didn't smile there.
I've been smiling the whole time.
Unbelievable. You talk about the batting depth. So if we just take a look at the team that has been selected for today's game, it's what we've become used to, really. Obviously, Alex Hales, Chris Nash at the top of the order, Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Tom Moores, Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Samit Patel, Imad Wasim, Matt Carter and Jake Ball. Obviously, you'd love to be in there yourself, but looking at that lineup, what do you think straight away?
Well, it's a lineup that seems to change all the time. So anywhere from 3 down to Samit at 8, even Imad at 9. He's a left-hander, so it's quite flexible batting lineup. Due to the conditions and what's required, really. We like to have a left-hand, right-hand combination at the ends, which works well. It's harder for bowlers to consistently bowl a line. So that seems to work well. But yeah, it's flexible. There's a lot of power hitters there, and right the way through, really. Even Carter and Ball can hit sixes. So it seems to progress over the years, and it's got better and better and better. And you just look down that lineup, and there's 11 match winners. So it's quite frightening, really. I imagine it's quite intimidating as an opposition coming to Trent Bridge, especially, and having to bowl at that lineup.
Now, it is the final game in the group stage. We're obviously coming off against a loss against Leicestershire on Friday night. Will that just refocus everybody's sort of minds and energy, and can that be turned into a positive just before, when we're looking towards the knockout stage?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's never ideal to lose, but yeah, lads will take a look at their performance and whatever they can improve on, and then they'll have worked on that in the last No, they probably didn't train yesterday, so they probably haven't worked on it. So.
Great opportunity.
So yeah, they haven't worked on it, but they'll try again and try and do better. But you have slip-ups every now and again, don't you? But our record here, particularly at Trent Bridge, is phenomenal. So I don't think they'll take too much into account what happened at Grace Road the other night. They'll just move on, and they'll be excited to put on a show on the live stream today. I nearly said in front of 18,000, but there's no one here.
If only. Hopefully there's 18,000 people watching the live stream.
I think so, yeah. I think so. Well, if you start smiling, there might be 25,000, but there we go.
Okay, right. Must smile. Right, earlier on today, obviously the news broke just this past week about a certain player leaving Trent Bridge at the end of his contract. So we did catch up with Mr. Chris Nash, and here is what he had to say to Kirsty.
Chris, not long ago we were actually sat up in the press box having a chat about what was left of this season, and now we're here under slightly different circumstances after the announcement this week. So for those who haven't read the report, tell me a little bit about what's happened and how that came about.
Well, I've obviously had 3 great years here, thoroughly enjoyed every minute. Sat down with Mick and Pete and we just looked at the way the squad was going and the situation of the game at the moment, and realised it was just time for me to move on. There's other opportunities for me elsewhere to do new things. So I think it was the right time for maybe a slight refresh of the squad, and for me to kind of move in. I'm not getting any younger, but I still feel really fresh, and I'm really enjoying this T20. So yeah, look, it was decided that was going to be the end of my time at Notts, which is obviously extremely sad, but also
we've
exciting.
Tried to hold back the sobbing on camera at least. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and it's one of those where I think for me to play in the T20 and hopefully go out with a title would be fantastic. So I feel like I'm playing some really good cricket this year. So I want to keep performing and walk away with the trophy.
And we'll come on to what's left of this competition shortly. But what does the future look like for you? We know you go away and coach over the winter. We know from chats that you have fingers in other pies, as it were. So what's in your kind of short-term aim at the moment? I
think it's one of those things. I think as you do get older, it's so important, and we're very well supported. The PCA through the coaches are great, and just looking into the future, you do have to plan for that as a professional sportsman. So it's something I've been looking at for a while now, and the summer gave me some really good time to think. So I am moving into a few other things outside of cricket, which I always had an interest in, always look to study and keep my mind active. So yeah, I've got some great opportunities coming up as soon as the season ends. And on the flip side, for me, cricket, isn't finished yet. I still feel like I've got a lot to give. And if that can be in a slightly different capacity, then it's something I'm looking at as well.
Okay, so I think that any sportsman would always say the sport that they play is their first love. So cricket must well be your first love. And somebody who's seen you through that is Peter Moores. Obviously, you two seem to gravitate towards each other quite regularly. How is that going to feel, not having sort of Pete there in the background?
Well, it'll be strange actually. Obviously, I've known Morsey since I was about 12, 13 years old. He used to coach me in the old indoor school down at Hove. So I've known him my whole cricketing life, really, my whole life. He gave my first contract. So then to be called in and
nice
get the news the other day was a circle of life, really. Look, me and Morsey, we've had a great relationship over the last 20 years, and that's something I think will continue on. I think we'll always be good friends. It's been great to reconnect with him over the last 3 years, and just to kind of, from where we both started when he was in his first coaching job and my first year as a pro, to he's been all around international, won championships with other teams, and to be here 20 years on is fantastic as well. So it's been an amazing circle kind of our cricketing lives.
Cast your mind back to that first day you arrived here at Trent Bridge, or even the point at which you knew you were coming. What aim did you come to sort of see out, and do you feel like you've done that?
A good question, actually. For me, it was to come to a place like Trent Bridge, to play at a test ground. I'd never played international cricket, so I never had... haven't played regularly in these big grounds. So for me to play at Trent Bridge, I did have some really big aims. I wanted to win all the trophies and score millions of runs.
We always do.
We always do, and that's, you'd be wrong not to have that aim. But obviously a lot of that stuff didn't work out. An injury in the first year was really bad for me. And then I kind of Red Bull form over the last couple of years. Missing out on a lot of T20 last year. But on the flip side of that, it's been a great learning curve to miss out on so much, but then to the quarter-final last year, to captain the club was fantastic for me. I really enjoyed those sides of it. Just to play here and to meet the people here and everyone around the club. I came from Sussex, where everyone was very friendly, and from the guys on the gate to everyone in the offices. And although this is a huge ground, it still retains that feeling, which is really special.
So, do you feel like you've left your mark on Trent Bridge? And if so, what mark is it?
Well, there's a hole just over there where I fell over and dislocated my shoulder. I'd like to think I have. I think I've had a really good influence on a lot of the younger players. I've really enjoyed working with a lot of the guys and hopefully giving them a good perspective on life. I think that's one of my strengths, in that I've got a decent perspective on cricket and life. And hopefully people see how hard I work, even as an old grumpy man. So I do think that hopefully people look back and say he was a good guy. He shared his knowledge, he gave his time to people, and if that's what people remember of me, as well as being hopefully a very good cricketer, then I'll be very happy. So
I've asked you what mark you feel like you've left on here, but what mark has Nottinghamshire, Trent Bridge, the Outlaws left on you? What will you take away from here?
So much. To work with Morsey, to work with all the coaches, from Lisa to Mick, they're brilliant. The way they've looked after me, the way they've treated me, even being injured in my first year as an older player, was really disappointing, but the way the club were towards me during that time was amazing. So the support network at this club is fantastic, and the way they treat people, that for me is something that I'll really take away, as well as playing at a great ground and just getting to know so many people. Yourself, Aaron, the people, all the ground staff in the offices. It's been fantastic and something I'll never forget. So
finally, what is your fondest memory?
My fondest memory, I don't think I can really go past the quarter-final last year.
Exactly what I was going to say, it would be mine.
Yeah, I think you watch these historic nights at grounds like this where you're under the lights, TV cameras are in, big crowds, and you want to be part of that, and you want to be the man at the end of it to win the game. To not play the whole comp, but to get the nod for the quarter-final. I put a lot of work in mentally and physically to get ready for that. And then for it to all come out like that was amazing. So to walk off, my brother was there, so he was there, first bloke I saw. That will always be, my fondest memory of playing here, and something I'll cherish forever. You
literally smiled for a good 2 hours afterwards.
I think I smiled for about 6 months afterwards. It was great fun, and again, and the supporters as well. I've had a lot of messages from supporters on social media, and they've been fantastic. They've supported me through ups and downs over the last 3 years, and that's what makes this place so special.
Okay, well, it's going to be odd not having our joker in the pack next season. I'm not going to try and make you cry, but good luck with everything, and please keep in touch.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
know Nashy for a few years. You've obviously played with him, been in the dressing room. What kind of man is Chris Nash?
He's a great man. He fitted in so well. I obviously knew a bit about him. I played against him for a while, but yeah, he's such a top man. He's always got energy for the boys. He's always upbeat. He's good fun to be around. You know, it's a shame really. I wanted to play with him for longer than what I'm going to play with him. He's one of them people that instantly I seem to click with, and also like advice. I always go to him for a lot of advice. You know, he's been around county cricket for a long time now, so he's a good bloke to speak to about things. And he's going to be a big miss, mate. I've got a good connection with him, and but I'm sure whatever he does, hopefully he stays in the game. But if he doesn't, whatever he's going to do, he'll be successful because he's such a top bloke. So you actually know yourself.
He's got quite infectious personality, I think.
Yeah,
and he's always one for a quote. You know, I remember back to last year, we were Isle of Wight, and he gave us this lovely speech in the team huddle. But he's always got that in him, hasn't he? And I think that's why you say you go to him for advice, and he offers an opinion.
He's got a lot of experience, but it's just the way he goes about it. You know, one example really. Last year he didn't get in the T20 side until quarter final. You know, in that circumstance, it's quite easy to sulk and moan and you know, not train as hard as you probably should. But he, the whole way through, was unbelievable. I remember watching him thinking, how's he coping with this? Because he's got some of the best stats out there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't getting a game, but he just kept going and going and going, training well. And then he got his chance, bang, 70 odd off, not many balls. So, he's got a great personality, and it's a shame that I'm not going to be playing cricket with him again.
Well, obviously, as Kirsty said there, we wish him the best of luck. His job is still not finished, though. Obviously, coming out here with Alex Hales shortly, what will they be going through right now and focusing on? Probably
just be as positive as they can, which they always are anyway. Nashy's aggressive from ball one. He'll look to take down any bowler. And Hales, you know what Hales is like. He might give himself a couple of balls and all of a sudden bang. So both these lads didn't score many runs at Leicester the other night, so they'll be gagging to getting out there today and whacking a few over Trent Bridge. So it'll be good to watch anyway.
Now, from Alex Hales' point of view, you know, he hasn't properly hit the standards that he wants to yet. Hasn't yet got that 50. So we know it's around the corner, and he'll be looking to do that today, won't he?
Well, exactly. Yeah. You know, I always said, I've grown up with Alex all my career, and it's almost good when he doesn't score runs because you know he's going to break a record soon. You know what I mean? He's one of them cricketers. And there's not many out there that can do that. So him having been quiet through the group stages, he's still scored his runs, but probably not as well as he would have expected to. But something's around the corner and someone's going to cop it. So just sit back and enjoy. Sit back on your settee,
cup of tea,
get a cup of tea on or a beer or whatever, a glass of wine, and watch Halesy.
Nice, lovely plug there. I like it. You can come again. If we look at Durham, they'll be looking to. You know, results need to go their way as well. If they win here today, then they have a chance potentially of qualifying. So if we just look at the Durham team, just pick a few names out there for us. You know, who could be their match winners today?
Well, what I would say is they're 4 from 4, so they've got momentum. So they'll be coming here confident they could turn us over. But you know, you look at the sides side by side, and they're nowhere near compared to the not set up. But you look at Potts, he's had a good start to tournament with the ball. Ben Raines come in and scored runs at the top of the order. Bar Hardy in the overseas, he's a talented player. Lees and Steele and Clark, the top 3, they're dangerous, yeah. So Durham are a good side, and they pose a big threat. But I'm just looking up there now, the Outlaws and Durham's team, and it's no real match really. But like I say, they've won 4 in 4, and they'll be confident. So you just never know.
Now, for you personally, if we just talk about your season, I know it's been a frustrating
We won't be talking about it too long.
It's all right, we've only got a minute to fill.
Yeah. So. 30 seconds rest then, won't we?
Exactly. But for you, obviously, I know it's been a frustrating season with the little niggles and the injuries. Where's your head at? You know, what are you focusing on now going into the winter and looking towards 2021?
I mean, yeah, it has been frustrating. And it's never nice missing cricket. And it's probably the first time this has happened to him, really. I played 4 games all summer, so... Yeah, I don't really feel like I've been a part of it, but it's happened. There's things to work on. I'll have to work hard in the winter, and then just come back. You know, I don't want to put too much thought into it because, you know, there's a lot of people in worse positions than me right now in the country and in the world. So it is what it is. You just got to learn from it and crack on this winter, and then go again next year.
Character building, isn't it? Really, these times.
It is. Yeah. But I mean, we've got time on our hands, haven't we?
got plenty of time.
Got plenty of time, so
Yeah.
it's not a worry, but it's just not nice not playing cricket really. I struggle with that really.
And for you, obviously a local lad, Trent Bridge, you love playing here. You have your favourite stands usually on a T20. You know the crowd. You're a crowd favourite. How's this been? We were just talking before we came on air. It's weird, isn't it? It's a Sunday afternoon, lovely sunshine.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're smiling again. Well
Thank
done.
you.
It's strange, mate. Oh, you look around the stands now. There's a couple of people here, the camera and that, but it's so weird. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? And obviously it's not right, but you know the T20 format. You feel the buzz from the warm-ups of the crowd coming in. You know they've had a few beers and the atmosphere's great. The music's blasting. The kids are loving it. And it's very different, and it's difficult to get yourself up for that. But I think the players have all adapted to it well. There's still a trophy to be won at the end of the day, and you might as well win it, haven't you? That's where you got to look at it.
Is that? I mean, the bells just rang. The Durham lads are out. So are Alex and Nashi. So just very quickly, is it about focusing? You know, professional sportsmen, you'd love to have a crowd in, but now the lads will just be tunnel vision, do the job that's out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's different for people like myself, and then you look at people like Hales, Christian, Imad Blazin. They play in front of 100,000 people week in week out, so it's very different for them than it is for us. But the lads have got a job to do, and they'll be completely focused on that. And once actually you get into the game, sometimes when there is a crowd, you don't even realise it until you actually finish the game. You think, oh, that was amazing, but you're so focused on doing your job that you don't really take it into account. So once this starts, the lads will be on it, like they always are, and they'll get on with the game.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We will talk to you at the halfway stage, but it's now time to hand over to our match coverage team. I'm going to go and get a book signed by the man himself. But yes, here is the voice of Dave Bracegirdle with our match coverage.
Permutations there, and Durham and Leicestershire in the North Group could come into play there depending on the outcome. So the matches in the Central Group: Gloucestershire against Somerset at Bristol, Birmingham against Northampton at Edgbaston, and Worcestershire against Glamorgan, which is a dead rubber at New Road.
One of the things I was observing yesterday was the fact that Warwickshire's run rate is so poor that if Northants were to win them, Warwickshire would get sucked below Durham.
Yeah.
So that might actually be a good thing from a Durham point of view.
In the North Group, dead rubber at Headingley. Derbyshire the home side, but they're playing at Headingley. Yorkshire versus Derbyshire. Forget about them too. That's the
M1 derby.
That's a good policy anyway, but forget about them. Lancashire versus Leicestershire.
That's 2 minutes in, that, Brace. You've done well there.
At Old Trafford. Lancashire, they're going to finish second. They've got such a negative run rate against Notts. I think Notts would have to lose this by 300, and Lancashire would have to beat Leicestershire by 300 for roles to be reversed. Seems as if Notts are going to top the group, whatever happens today, and Lancashire be second. But Leicestershire will need to beat Lancashire at Old Trafford to have any chance of going through. And as Durham found out on Friday night, it is possible to go to Old Trafford and get up a win. Durham come into this one a little bit of form. 4 consecutive wins, and Durham have won the toss here, we should say, and elected to field.
Yeah, I think Durham have now won 4 out of the last 6 at Lancashire, something like that. Anyway, they've won 4 of the last 6 here.
They have indeed, yeah. One change to the Notts lineup, we should tell you. Back comes Jake Ball. He sat out Friday evening. I think he could have been handy there. Notts going down right at the death, penultimate ball to the Foxes. Zach Chappell is the one that makes way. Chappell had to bowl the final over there as Leicestershire's chased down 160 odd to end Notts' unbeaten start to the group. So Alex Hales and Chris Nash out in the middle. Durham are unchanged. Notts that one change, then Ball in for Chappell, and we're going to get underway from the Radcliffe Road end with Liam Travaskis, who's going to be bowling his slow left armers, and he's going to be bowling to Chris Nash, who's had a couple of 50s, 4 lowish scores, and a 40 not out as well. He's been saying all the way through, it's feast or famine for Chris Nash.
8 wickets for Travaskis this season as well.
Here he is, Travaskis then bowling to Chris Nash, and we're underway on the final day of qualifying. The first ball is pushed out into the offside. This is as late as a qualifying match has been staged in the history of the Blast competition, the T20 competition. But last year's finals day was actually held on the 21st of September as Nash gets Notts up and running, driving it down the ground for his first single. That'll be fielded by Bryden Cars. Notts in the gold tops, Durham in the predominantly yellow with the blue sleeves.
Blue. It's 6 years today since Durham won the one-day cup at Lords when they beat Warwickshire in the mist, the murk. An eerie day that was.
Alex Hales on strike, not yet scored a 50 in this competition. Travaskis to bowl to Hales, and he's away first ball, hitting it over the top. The fielder's up inside the ring on that offside, so Hales just lifted it away, and Hales has 4 from the first ball he's received. Knots Outlaws of 5 without loss halfway through the third over. BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Radio Newcastle, and a very good afternoon and welcome to all of you following on the live stream. Pictures from the Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club website. Next ball sees Hales clip it into the offside, and he's gone. Hales has fallen for 4. Tried to force Travaskis through the leg side, got a leading edge, and it popped up to mid-wicket, and Hales has gone. 4th ball of the match, and Notts are 5 for 1. Alex Hales out, caught by Graham Clark. Simple enough catch, and Travaskis with the early strike, and he just had to see what it meant to the Durham fielders. Absolutely pumped up for this one. Hales has gone, an early blow. A new man on his way out to the middle is Joe Clark. Now, what a record Clark has got against Durham this year. Scored an unbeaten century in this competition, the Blast competition, up at the Riverside, and also got a very decent 100 here in the Bob Willis Trophy. Martin's popped next door to update listeners in the northeast. If he were here, he would point out, yes, but on both occasions when Clark has scored hundreds this year against Durham, he was dropped early on. Durham can't afford to do it again. Now, can Clark continue to pile on the misery? 5 for 1. 2 balls left in this final over. First over, I beg your pardon. Wishing the afternoon away. Lovely conditions as Travaskis bowls, and Clark, like Hales, gets away first ball, crunching it through the offside. Lovely extra cover drive, a resounding crack off the middle of the bat, and Joe Clark has a boundary, and Notts a 9 for 1 in the first over. Real sign of intent. 5 in a row for Durham on that offside. Clark still threaded the ball through them. Next one is this time pushed straight to Clark, who took that catch at the end of an eventful first over. Notts on 9 for 1. Liam Travaskis getting the early wicket. Interesting to see how many overs of spin Durham do send down during the power play overs. So the second over to be sent down from the pavilion end. Looks like it's going to be Matty Potts. Right arm medium pacer. He's in very, very good form indeed. He's taken 13 wickets in the competition. Second in the list of wicket takers. There's an update for Radio Nottingham, where Notts have already lost the wicket of Alex Hales. They've been put into bat by the visitors Durham, who themselves can still qualify for the quarterfinals. They need to win here today and hope that 1 or 2 other results go their way. Alex Hales at his first ball for 4, at his second ball straight to extra cover, so he'd gone. Notts have made 1 change. Out goes Zach Chappell, back comes Jake Ball. Notts batting, lovely conditions. They're 15 for 1 in the second over. So that update for BBC Radio Nottingham, and meanwhile Chris Nash has pulled Potts away for 6 first ball, and his second one has just nipped back and gone through the gate. A fine start from Chris Nash, who of course will be leaving Trent Bridge at the end of the season. Doesn't want to go out with a trophy, helping Notts to the Blast competition. 37 years of age, open to offers, I understand. Next ball is pushed into the offside. There's no run here. The start of the day worth perhaps mentioning, I wonder how many times this will change during the afternoon. As it sits at the start of the day, the quarter-finals would be Notts at home to Somerset, familiar rivals of course at that stage, Surrey at home to Sussex, Gloucestershire at home to Birmingham, and Kent at home to Lancashire. But there will be changes to that almost certainly. I'd be very, very surprised if it stays like that. 15 for 1 as Nash just chops this next ball all the way along the ground down to Bryden Carse at third man. 16 for 1. Nash has 8 from 6 balls. Joe Clark has 4 from 2. Warm welcome to all of you just joining us from Trent Bridge. With the news that Notts Outlaws have been put into bat by Durham, and Alex Hales hasn't yet registered a 50 in this season's competition and won't do in the qualifying stages. Has been dismissed for 4. 16 for 1. Matty Potts into bowl. Clark clips this one straight to mid-wicket. Impressive thing about his century up at Durham, and indeed one or two other fine innings that Clark has played in this competition, as has been well, his timing but also his placement. But he's already hit 2 balls straight to fielders. Durham noisy in the field, as you'd expect. They're pumped up for this one as Potts bowls and Clark backs away. He goes down on one knee, trying to lever the ball away, and doesn't get anything on it as the ball goes through to David Beddingham, the Durham wicket-keeper. Of course, we mentioned it a few times in the recent Bob Willis Trophy game here. Beddingham, no stranger to these parts. South African, but he has played for a number of years for Plumtree, the local Premier League side here, not too far away from where we're watching this game now. 16 for 1 at the end of the second over. So 7 runs, which included a 6, of course, from that over sent down by Potts. Here's Liam Travaskis. He'll be bowling to Chris Nash, who's on 8. Nash comes out the spinner, pushes it crisply to mid-off, and there's no run. That's fielded by Farhan Bahudin. Next ball chopped away. Well, attempted to chop it away, and there's no run. Nash on strike on 8. Faces Travaskis. And, Chris Nash sort of flailing, an ugly looking shot away from his body. Didn't get anything on it as it goes through to the keeper. 16 for 1. Next ball dropped onto the leg side, and they'll take a single. Goes through to the keeper. Just getting 1 or 2 people saying that we're not going out live on the internet. At Brace Cricket, if you can hear us, okay. Martin, back with me. You just want to take over the next minute or two, and I'll make 1 or 2 phone calls.
Travaskis to Clark. Full toss, played down towards Potts. It's gone through his legs at mid-off, but he'll recover it. They'll get 1 run. Nash on strike. These two put on 105 against Durham a few weeks ago. Delay now as Nash is having something applied to his thigh. I don't know if he's been hitting the inner guard. Still having a delay here while they're putting, looks like they're putting some strapping on his leg or something. Should still be hearing us on the live stream through the varying websites on the YouTube footage. Seems to be an issue at the moment with the BBC website. Now then, after that lengthy delay, Travaskis bowls to Nash, who plays towards backward point. Dot ball. That is the end of the over. So 18 have been scored for 1 wicket, 18 for 1, 2 from that over. Joe says we're coming through loud and clear on the YouTube stream. Yeah, I'm aware of that, but it's the BBC app where we are silent apparently, which is not good, so we're trying to get that sorted out now. Durham got off to one of their worst starts in this tournament this year. They were winless in 5, lost 4 and had 1 rained out, and unfortunately they were the only side to get a game going on the first round of matches and lost to Lancashire as Bryden Carse comes into the attack here, and decent delivery right on middle stump is dug down into the ground by Clark off the toe of the bat and played up towards mid-on for 1. He's going for the Yorker length ball there, Carse. Carse so far in this competition this season has taken just the 2 wickets. It was the 7th match before he got his first. Nash on strike on 9. As Carse comes in, he looks to pull that through the leg side and has played and missed. He's played it a few outside the off stump and missed so far today. Nash goes into this one with 155 runs and a higher score of 55, which came at Durham. Joe Clark that day dropped on 8 by Graham Clark. Went on to make 100 in 44 balls. It included 8 sixes and 7 fours, and he won the match with a 6 to take him to 100 not out. Carse again comes up to the stumps and balls from the pavilion end, and that's played out through the covers for 4. Races away right out the middle of the bat. Was too short from Carse and just sat there nicely for Nash, and he's clubbed that, and it was way outside the off stump as well. Not a particularly good ball, and it was given the treatment, as they say. Nash is 37 years, previously with Sussex, played for them from 2002 until 2017. This is his 165th T20, more than 3,500 runs. As Carse comes in and bowls, and he tries again to go big through the leg side and plays and misses at a ball outside the off stump.
Won this competition with Sussex way back when.
That wasn't a bad ball, that actually. It just angled back and just went over the off stump.
I understand the problem was picked up straight away and they're just trying to get it connected, so didn't lose commentary to our live stream listeners, but it went down on the app.
In comes the bowler. Oh, he's bowled him off stump. Nash has tried to go after him again there. The ball's gone down here for 4, except it isn't a 4 because it's gone via the off stump, which is lying askew at the moment. The bails have gone for miles as well, and he was just trying to give it the industrial heave-ho there, Chris Nash, and he's bowled by Carse for 13.
1-6, 1-4 for Chris Nash, faced 15 balls, and it's not really started out particularly well this afternoon for the Outlaws. Both openers have gone. Alex Hales making 4. Chris Nash now follows for 13. Here comes Ben Duckett, who's been in very decent form himself. A couple of 50s the last 2 matches, 4 knots. He had an 80-odd earlier on in the campaign, and he comes out to join his good buddy Joe Clark.
3.5 overs gone. Duckett had a few runs for Northants against Durham. Did he get any? Was it something in the final? Did he do? Scored 72 for Northants against Durham in 2017. He got 150 here against Durham in the Bob Willis Trophy, which was that last week? When was it? Was that last week or the week before? Yeah, that match finished last week, didn't it? Was it last Wednesday?
Was it? Wasn't long ago.
Was it a couple of weeks ago? I can't remember. It's all a blur.
Yeah. One ball left in this over, and then just
bringing a slip in.
Give you one or two significant early scores from elsewhere. This isn't the only place that 2 wickets have gone down. One or two poor starts made around the country. Yes, both of these players scored centuries in that Bob Willis Trophy game against the North East County.
Cast in, bowls, turned off the legs and away nicely by Duckett, and that should go for 4. It was a probing ball, Yorker length leg stump, but he just got onto it nicely there and steered it away through for 4. So end of the over, 4 overs gone, 27-4-2 after Durham put Notts in. Durham unchanged, Notts have brought ball in for Chapel.
Hales, Clark and now Duckett all off the mark, first ball with a boundary. So those other scores I was promising you, Birmingham Bears, Warwickshire to everybody else, 19 for 2 against Northants, that's in the central group, they can both qualify. They're both looking to qualify, but the Bears a couple down. Essex 9 for 2 against Sussex Sharks. Essex, the defending champions, they can't qualify, but Sussex certainly can with a win at Chelmsford. They are the other wickets to go down around the country. Here is Paul Coghlan, late of this parish, former Nottinghamshire player, had a couple of years here, bowls nice and full, and this is driven through the offside by Clark. He likes them there, forces it away towards the Fox Road side. The ball clatters into the wall, and then was that a member of the Durham coaching staff over there who throws it back? Got
his gloves on, yeah.
He's got his protective blue gloves on. 31 for
Gareth
2.
Hart, who I don't think he hasn't played in any of the matches this year.
Clark on 10 from 7 balls. Coghlan in again to Joe Clark, wide of the off stump, and that was a quicker ball from Paul Coghlan, pushed through at a decent lick there. It was fairly wide of the mark, but the umpire didn't see too much wrong with it. Our umpires, Tim Robinson at this end, and Paul Baldwin, who's standing at square leg.
The boundary towards the Hound Road stands probably about 60 yards, isn't it?
31 for 2 as Coghlan bowls, and Clark again goes on the off route, and this one was lifted over the ring. It was nice and safe, and again it clatters into the wall, so I'm sure Tim Robinson will want to have a look at that one when it comes back as well.
I think Paul Coghlan needs to sort himself out again here. He went for 2 sixes the other night. Liam Livingston bowling short and wide, and then pitched one up and yorked him leg stump. He needs to get this up to the stumps.
Well, his 2 men out are on the leg stump, and he's bowling wide of the off. This one is hit into the offside again by Clark, and once more it will go for 4. I know why Martin was going, because it didn't come out of the middle and it was hanging in the air, but the fielder on the discs would needed to have been about 12 feet 6 tall to have caught it. Just cleared him sufficiently to enable Joe Clark to instantly realise he was going to get another boundary. His 4th, he's on 18, and Clark has started well.
Needs to take back control here, Coghlan.
3 boundaries in 4 balls. Next one is another boundary, and this time Joe Clark immensely fortunate. He's got a scratchy inside edge down to long stop for 4. Harrow cut, French cut, whatever you want to call it. It was a shot of huge fortune, but that means 16 has come from 5 balls in this over, and the pressure being applied to Coghlan. 43 for 2, the Outlaws. You don't want to give the bowler anything, do you? You don't want to give the bowler anything this final ball. Don't take another risk. You've got 16 from the over, and he has it up in the air and he's gone. You could almost see it coming. I just fancied that Joe Clark might go after him again, and he's paid the price. Clark silly out for cricket, 22.
That. Absolutely silly cricket.
I don't know about you. I could see it coming. Doesn't matter now. He's gone. Second catch for Clark. Clark has been caught by Clark after bowling of Paul Coghlan for 22, and he faced 12 balls, 5 fours, and this is, folks, 20 overs a side. Remember, not 10 overs a side, and Notts are treating it the moment a little bit like it's a 10-over match. I know they want to get on with it in the power play overs, but that's 3 big scalps that have gone. Nash, Hales and Clark, exactly as they did at Grace Road on Friday evening. Tom Moores makes his way to the middle. First left-hander, and he's into this game off the back of a half-century at Leicester on Friday evening, where he was playing his 50th T20 game for Notts.
That was just daft. Ash Thorpe, former Durham player, would describe that as brainless cricket.
16 from the over, and now Coghlan has one in the end column, 1 over 1 for 16.
Here's Potts from the pavilion end. He's going to bowl to Duckett, who's on 4. And that's a nice drive out of the covers and a good tumbling stop as well out there. Let me see who that is. Is that by Hardian?
I've got to update you on one score, Martin, because it's been very interesting to you.
Was
I wasn't sure who you were rooting for, but Birmingham Bears 21 for 4 against Northants.
This one's played out through mid-wicket. Coghlan steams in off the boundary in front of the new stand to field it. Gets it back to the bowler's end, and Potts turns as if to shape up and try and run out the batsman Moores, but I don't think it was a run out on the cards, and his back foot sort of slipped away from it at the same time. A tie would do in that one, wouldn't it? I suppose. I'm trying to think. I don't think it's so bad for Durham if Northants win that one, because Warwickshire's run rate's poor. Potts in again, Duckett drives. Oh, great diving stop by Travaskis at point. That was away for 4 otherwise. It's not the biggest of grounds, this. They are playing slightly across to the left-hand side of the square as we look at things. I would say about a 60-yard boundary towards that Fox Road side of the ground, if you look where the discs are. And it's actually probably not much more on the other side, to be honest with you. Maybe 65, 70 on that side.
Go along with you there for once.
Duckett on 6. Potts bowls. That's played past the square leg umpire for 1. Coghlan cuts it off. Potts in his last 3 matches has betted his career best each time. 3 for 19 against Leicestershire, I think it was. Then 3 for 14 against Yorkshire. And then 3 for 8 against Lancashire the other day. He took 3 for 1 in his first over against Lancashire. They were reduced to 9 for 4 after 2 overs, their lowest score, having lost 4 wickets in a T20, and they were eventually dismissed for 83, which is also their lowest score in a T20 game. Potts to Moores, bowls. Moores drives at one outside the off stump, and it's gone through to the keeper. I don't know about you, Dave, I'm finding it extremely difficult to follow this ball because it's so bright down there, and the square they're playing on is just straw-coloured. The track they're playing on is absolutely really light, and the ball, as it's moving, is also forming a shadow, and it's difficult to pick up whether you're watching the shadow or the ball. So bright down there.
Totally agree with you.
Potts again in, bowls. That's gone through to the keeper, and it bounces off his heel, but he manages to recover it. More the instep, really, on the right foot, end of the over. 46 for 3 after the power play.
Just 3 from that over from Matty Potts. Yeah, it's very straw colour. I know there's one of those hybrid strips down there, and I'm just wondering if
well, it would be more greener, the hybrid one.
Well, I don't know if you just have a look with the binoculars. It's almost straw coloured, very pale. But as you say, when you get the white ball on it, it is easy to miss. End of the power play then, 46 for 3. These 2 left-handers looking to do a similar job to that they did at Leicester the other night. They added 102. It was an extraordinary innings all round for Notts in that they got 167, I think it was. Nothing at the start, nothing at the finish, and a century partnership between the 2 lefties in the middle of the innings. Here's Rimington, the Durham skipper, comes in and bowls to Duckett, forces this away. He'll get a boundary. Strong hand, strong wrists, Ben Duckett plays this nicely away behind square on the offside. Rimington played his cricket for a while not too far away from here, Derbyshire, and I think he played a little bit of club cricket in this area. for a while. That's the 50 up for Notts in the 7th over, the start of the 7th. Certainly behind the 8 ball at the moment, but with power to add. Duckett tickles this out on the leg side. Those 5 fielders can now go out of the circle. 3 are on the leg side, patrolling the ropes, a couple on the offside. Weather-wise, the day is getting better and better and better. It's very cloudy when we both got here about an hour and a half ago.
I think there were quite a few people up in the north worried.
There's Rimington. Bowls. An LBW appeal is coming, but not a strong one from the bowler. It was mainly those who didn't have a good view of it, and it is a dot ball, which is the second best prize for a bowler, I guess, in this form of the game. 51 for 3.
Who would be a bowler in this? Got 134 wickets, Nathan Rimington, and 46 for Durham. Skippering them this year. Yeah, it was quite gloomy up in the northeast this morning, apparently. I think one or two people were worried about rain.
Rimington, the 5th bowler used already. Oof. Short, and Tom Moores has gone for an extravagant looking pull on the offside, on the leg side, and it's gone out on the off.
That was quite an incredible shot, that, wasn't it?
Well, he's full of them.
Has it come off the splice?
Yeah, I think it must have done. It was a little fortunate, I guess it didn't balloon up in the air, but gets away with it. Did stroke the ball nicely at Leicester on Friday.
It was a bit quicker from Rimington, that one.
Yep.
A bit more bounce in it, a bit more pace.
52 for 3 Notts. They've lost Hales for 4, Nash for 13 and Clark for 22. There's Rimington. Duckett this time on strike. Pushes to backward point, no run. Duckett twice a winner of this competition with Northants. Also played in another final where they were defeated. Moore's a member of the Notts side that won this in 2017.
Well, Duckett was in the final that the side that beat Durham in the rain in 2016. Northants beat Notts that year in the semi-final, didn't they?
That's right.
I think in both games there was something like 9 for 3 and 1.
52 for 3. And Duckett 12 from 6 now. Helps himself to his 13th run. It'll mean he'll keep the strike by clipping it crisply to mid-wicket, end of the over. 53 for 3 here on BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Radio Newcastle. Dave Bracegirdle and Martin Emerson with you. Somerset batting against Gloucestershire, 57 for 1. Who else do we need to sort of keep an eye on? Essex Eagles 26 for 4 against Sussex in the south, and in that match Top v Bottom in the south group, Kent are batting 57 for 1 against Surrey. They just suddenly started looking a really strong side, Kent, since Zach Crawley came back from England duty. Got a splendid 100 the other day. I watched on the live stream there.
Scott Steele, he's going to bowl. He got a career best 3 for 20 the other night at Lancashire. He's got 2 men out on that leg side boundary in front of the new stand, and there's an attempted reverse sweep from Duckett, and he plays and misses.
It's nothing like having a look at the bowling, is there? And there's a man there as well, you know, at short third, so very risky shot, but Duckett does like to play the reverse or the switch it.
He's got 11 wickets, Steele, so far, and that is played down towards the point boundary for 1 run. Bowling off breaks from the pavilion end on a beautiful day here in Nottingham. Very pleasant afternoon indeed. Gorgeous, warm, sunny afternoon. Steele is cut hard by Moores out towards the cover boundary. There's a fielder out there, Ben Rain. It's hardly a breath of wind, but there's no flag to tell either. But I can't see any of the trees moving at all, can you? Steele bowls, and Duckett tries that reverse sweep again, and it's gone to the man on the point boundary for 1. Turns him into deep square leg effectively. Ben Rain out there once more.
This pair did such a good job at Leicester with that century partnership. They just set it up with about 4 4.5 overs to go when Christian came in and he got out first ball.
Steele bowls, that's up in the air, but it's safe, and it's away down the far end of the ground, and it's gone for 4. It was absolutely motoring, that. I think, again, that might be shadow and optical illusion time there, but I thought that was in the air for a moment, but clearly not as high as what I initially thought. It's gone straight up past the bowler and away for 4 towards the pavilion steps.
Looks a far safer shot. Tom Moore's doing that than Ben Duckett on the reverse at the moment.
Steele again, moves down the track at him, cuts that one out hard, drives hard through the covers for 4. Just got a little bit expensive at the end of that over there from Steele's point of view, going for 2 4s. 64 for 3 after 8 here on BBC Radio Nottingham and BBC Radio Newcastle. Derek and his daughters are out picking blackberries. They've got 9 jars of jam ready now, and they're going to have 2 crumbles this month, he reckons.
Graham says, could there be a more perfect Sunday afternoon? I'm sat reading Luke Fletcher's book and following the stream. Enjoy both, Graham. Lovely to have you with us. Going to be Bryden Karst to bowl his second over. His first was from the pavilion end. Went for 9 runs, but he did get the wicket of Chris Nash. Absolutely demolished his off pole, didn't he? Now he's going to be bowling to a pair of left-handers. Initially Ben Duckett, who's on 15 down the leg side and helped away by Duckett. Couldn't find the gap, so he'll only get a single. In fact, no, misfield out there. So they come back for 2. Seized on that slight fumble. Good running.
Looking at his finger end there, he missed one down here earlier as well. It was a slightly slower ball from Karst there, wasn't it? Should have only been the 1 run though.
Difficult fella to know where to bowl to, I guess. So we've already seen he really does like to play that switch hit. Comes Karst, bowls wide of the off stump. That was a quicker ball, full of length, and Duckett couldn't reach it. Goes through to the keeper. It's almost like playing Ronnie O'Sullivan at snooker and trying to guess if he's going to play right-handed or left-handed with Duckett. You can set your field for the orthodox left-hander, and suddenly he'll turn around and play it as a righty. 66 for 3. This pair have had a 23 from 20, so still Notts will hope in the relatively early stages of a partnership. Next ball pushed into the offside. It was in the air for a while, but nobody there. Square of the wicket. 67 for 3. Still to come. Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney and Samit Patel of the frontline batsmen.
Per Hardian said he was at backward point then. The ball sailed past him. If he'd been at point, it might have gone straight at him. He's probably 10 yards away from where he needed to be.
Bryden Karst once more. Past umpire Robinson. Bowls, another good delivery. This time it's Moores who can't play bat on ball.
Helicopter. Is that the police helicopter? Looks to be in a hurry. Might be the air ambulance. Is your air ambulance red and white?
It's that fella with the double glazing. 67 for 3. Hales fell to Travaskis in the first over for 4.
The Tanhill in is the other direction.
Nash was bowled by Karst for 13 and Clark fell to Coghlan for 22 after hitting 4 4s earlier in the same over. Now this one's just really paddled up in the air, if there is such a thing, from Tom Moores. He leaned back to give himself a little bit more leverage and then just proffered the ball up in the air, but there was nobody at square leg to accept a catch. 68 for 3.
Got a buzzard floating around out there, Dave.
A buzzard?
Yeah.
You are seeing things. Where you looking?
It was doing circles just above the floodlights, now gone off towards the Civic Centre.
Final ball of the 9th, 68 for 3. Duckett's on strike, gets off strike with a single, but will keep the strike because it is the last ball of the over. 69 for 3 here at Trent Bridge. Notts Outlaws versus Durham in the Blast competition. By the end of the afternoon, we'll know which 8 sides go through to quarter-finals day on the 1st of October and which 10 counties won't. Of course, there are a couple of counties that have got an important red ball game next week. Somerset playing Essex in the final of the Bob Willis Trophy, but in terms of this competition, 10 will see their season end as far as white ball is concerned. 69 for 3.
Steele around the wicket from the pavilion end, and another reverse sweep from Duckett. That's gone for 4 this time. He's put that behind point on the boundary. Timed that nicely.
We haven't had an extra yet. How deep in the innings do you think we'll go before we have an extra?
We're
in the 10th over.
Well, the one which the inside edge off Clark, that could have easily been a buys, couldn't it?
You'd probably bowled him if he hadn't got an inside
well,
edge.
yeah, maybe. True. Just thinking the quarter-finals are all on the same day.
Supposedly, yeah.
And then the finals day is, and it's now new traditional position of Boxing Day. Steele around the wicket. Duckett flicks that off the legs out towards the square leg boundary for 1 run.
Yes, you can watch the King George VI steeplechase or T20 Finals Day. 3rd of October it's penciled in for.
How do you turn the ball on ice? Steele to Moores, 74 for 3. Moores looks to pull hard through the leg side and toes it back to the bowler. This partnership is now worth 31. It's being starting to become an issue for Durham. Steele right arm around, bowls, moves down the track, launches it down the field, and it bounces awkwardly into the shin of Potts, I think it is.
Be brave, son, be brave.
Is that Cars or Potts? Cars. It went hard and low, and he came running in from long off, and the ball just bounced into the ground and hit him in the knee.
Looked painful from here, but he's not showing any. 75 for 3.
Steele again now to Duckett. Duckett looks to sweep, and I think that's come off his shoulder, in all honesty. He went quite low at it.
Can still be given out.
Yeah. I just turned the computer there just to see it bouncing away from him and not seeing where it hit. Here's the next ball, played short on the offside towards point for 1. End of the over, 10 gone then, 76 for 3.
Yeah, he said it's just starting to become a problematic partnership with regards to knots. I think they'd settle for 70s. Well, they'll have to settle for 76 at the halfway stage here. This pair have added 33. You want to get into a position really where you've got some wickets in hand going into the last 4 overs, and that's when you really do hope that Dan Christian in particular comes off, and if not him, then Mullaney and Patel can get the ball to the ropes as many times as they can. Durham would have taken this at the start, wouldn't they? Before a ball was bowled, getting Hales, Clark and Nash out in the first 10 overs.
Especially when Nash and Clark put on 105 in the last game between the two.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Lees and Clark did for Durham, wasn't it? They put on 105 for the second wicket as well, but unfortunately they were both out just after getting the half centuries, whereas Clark for Notts went on to make 100.
Remington's first over went for 7. He's back from our end of the ground, the Radcliffe Road end, nice and full, bowling to Ben Duckett, who doesn't get a run here, forcing it to Graham Clark on the offside. Saw Graham Clark hit a couple of enormous shots at Chesterley Street, the reverse fixture, if you like, the one that started the group. Started the group for Notts. Their first game was washed away. It was Durham's second match. There's Remington to bowl to Duckett. Clipped away on the leg side. They are quick, but despite that, they can still only take 1. 77 for 3.
If you think the start Durham had, and the fact they were the only team to play on the first round of games and staged that match against Lancashire and lost, into the fact they were too far north for the rain. If they'd been washed out that night as well, then they wouldn't have been, they were the only side without a point in the country.
Thanks to Sean, he's I don't know where he's watching from, but he confirms it was the air ambulance that went over Trent Bridge. Thanks very much, Sean. There's Remington. Tom Moore's on 12 from 11 balls, and now he's on 16 from 12 as he moves across his stumps.
Risky.
Yeah, risky to mere mortals, but Tom Moores gets a bat on that and plays it down to fine leg. No fielders there. they practice these ridiculous shots, don't they? And in the nets, you sort of don't get value for them, but out in the middle there, when you play it as sweetly as he did,
well, that was a leg stump Yorker, and he just rammed it round the corner.
81 for 3. Partnership of 38. Next ball, he backs away and again with a bit of a flourish forced it into the offside. Graham Clark couldn't pick it up cleanly, or I'm sure he'd have had a shy at the non-striker's end, but he doesn't. 82 for 3.
Bit of top spin on that one.
39 the stand. Moore's on 17 from 13. Duckett 26 from 22.
Just watching Remington here, he's cutting the ball, he's rolling his fingers around, he's taking a bit of the pace off. He's certainly making the batsman think.
Remington to Ben Duckett. Pulls this one into the leg side, should be cut off and is, but they are coming back for 2. Moores will easily get home. Just very, very quick over the 22-yard distance. Scampered back, 84 for 3. He's on 28.
Fairly nothing delivery that one, having just praised him. It was just banged in short and didn't really do anything.
Well, it's a contest of second guessing each other, isn't it? Now, what does he think I'm going to do? I'll try something else. 84 for 3 on a lovely sunny Sunday afternoon at Trent Bridge, and Remington will field off his own bowling here. And there's no run. End of the 11th over. Notts, who were put into bat by Remington. 84 for 3. Ben Duckett 28, Tom Moore 17.
Derek says it's been a great season. Club, county and international cricket. Great work on and off the field. And BBC Cricket keeping us up to date as always. Not to know they definitely have another game this year. Will Durham? That's the big question today. Warwickshire 72 for 4 in that crucial match against Northants, where I think actually that would be, looking at that, it'd be best if Northants won that one from a Durham perspective. I've got no allegiance to anybody there really. Well, I can argue that a lot of my family live in Birmingham, but Paul Codlin back into the attack from the pavilion end, bowling to Moores. It's a bouncer. It's okay as well. I was just looking at the square leg umpire, who says that's fine.
Didn't seem as if it was going to be Paul Coglin's afternoon when Joe Clark hit him for 4 consecutive boundaries, but just couldn't resist, couldn't settle for having taken 16 off the over, and went after him again, final ball, and
got overexcited.
He did indeed, as we're all prone to do, Martin.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Moores on strike, Coghlan in again, right arm over. Moores goes down the track and misses a slower ball. Clever ball that from Coghlan. He saw him coming in, took all the pace off it, and Moores was through the shot before the ball had got to him. The umpire at square leg is Tim Robinson, and we've got Paul Baldwin, behind the stumps at the far end.
Our scorers, Anne Cusworth and Ian Smith, who's also working the big screens here at Trent Bridge.
Coghlan once more, bowls to Moores, who drives up into the air. I've lost sight of that. Where's that gone? That's gone for miles. The new office blocks in Trent Bridge there. That just absolutely skied. Just too short of a length there from Coghlan. It went up and out of our eye line for a while. It's gone for 6, way over, long on. Moores timed that nicely.
It's moved on to 23, 90 for 3 now, Notts. This pair have added 47.
Coghlan needs to pitch it up, and that's cracked out towards the cover area. It spills through the hands of that fielder out there. It's gone out towards the boundary for 1. I don't think that was a catching chance. I think Remington thinks he's put a chance down there, but that was a bump ball.
Yeah.
Unless he's just angry that he didn't stop the run, but
I think he played it into the ground.
Yeah, I was watching that through the binoculars. That looked like it was into the ground to me. 91 for 3, BBC Radio Nottingham with your BBC Radio Newcastle. Martin Emerson and Dave Bracegirdle. Coghlan to Duckett. Bowls. Duckett turns it out through mid-wicket for 1 run. Pottsfields. Bernard suggesting maybe 170 for Notts. I think they'd probably be thinking more from this position. 92 for 3 after 11.5. They'd be thinking towards 200 if they can. There've hardly been any 200 scores this year.
Not been many, no.
There's not. I don't think there's been any in this group, has there? We used the one, Yorkshire maybe. Coughlin in again, and is that out? They're appealing. Oh, it's been given. Well, Moores looked to just ramp round the corner there, and there was a celebration from, I wonder if that's come off his glove. He's backed off a long way towards square leg and just tried to hook the ball in sort of rampy fashion, and there was a celebration from Coughlin and a celebration from the keeper. Partnership ends at 49, and it took a while before the umpire's finger went up.
It had to be sent. Tom Moores has gone. Batted for 25 minutes. 18 balls faced by the left-hander. Hit 3 fours, and that one 6 in the over. So Coughlin's had a little bit of tap, but he's picked up 2 important wickets. Joe Clark and Tom Moores, both with the final ball of overs. And now here is the Notts captain, Dan Christian. Solidly built cricketer. They got a first baller on Friday evening at Leicester, trying a little scoop over his shoulder, and it just didn't work. Just went straight up in the air, and the keeper gobbled it up. Thank you very much. 92 for 4 is the score. Travaskis, the spinner, going to bowl his 3rd over. 2 overs, 1 for 11 for Liam Travaskis. We're bowling to Duckett, who's on 29. Also want him to bat through the innings now and look for the firepower from the other end. Here's Travaskis. Oh, it's a full toss, and Duckett's hit it out onto the leg side, and he should fall here, and he has. It's a full toss. Ben Duckett had just turned on his heels, and he's gone straight away. Didn't even bother crossing. He knew he'd miscued it. Hit it straight to the fielder.
Ben Rain.
And Travaskis has the second one. Took it out for 29.
Awful shot to an awful ball.
It was indeed. Partnership of 49, and then 2 wickets in 2 balls. Not to 92 for 5 at the start of the 13th. And Duckett 29 from 26 balls, and he hit 3 fours in that innings. Should be Stephen Mullaney to come out and join his captain. In fact, it's Imad Wasim. Just had a little tinker with the order here. Another left-hander, Imad Wasim, who hasn't had many opportunities with the bat. 4 knots.
Cricket fans in Burnley and Accrington may remember him playing in the Lancashire Leagues about 10 years ago.
Not certainly would have expected him to be coming in with almost 8 overs to go. Clips this on the leg side, and there's no run. There's a number of counties that haven't had any overseas players at all. Only 1 or 2 others that have had 2 overseas players in this competition, and for the first time Notts have got both of theirs out there batting at the same time as Wasim, Pakistan international, pushes this down the ground to Matty Potts down below us at long off. Christian taking guard. Malcolm says, I'd like to thank you all for the live streams you've provided. Can't believe I've not been to Trent Bridge all summer. Hope we're able to get back there next April. Yes, can only echo that, Malcolm. Lovely to see fans in. The thought was that the quarter-finals might be accessible. I don't know if that is something that is still a possibility or not. Obviously, the regulations have been tightened all the time. Here's Travaskis now to bowl to Christian. Fell first ball at Leicester, and he's gone first ball here. They're checking. Durham are claiming it. Dan Christian stands there. Tim Robinson has taken the ball, and he's going to have a word with his umpire. Now, if Dan Christian, if Tim Robinson can't see that, I'm sure Paul Baldwin can't. He's gone over to check. Dan Christian, I fancy, might have got his second first ball in 2 matches. Tim Robinson's coming back.
Now then, this could be controversial because they've said he's not out.
Well,
the Durham lads were absolutely convinced that was a fair catch there.
Who was the catcher, Marty? Can you see? 93 for 5. Could have been
Lees,
93 for 6. Alex Lees. Yeah, it is close in there at short extra cover. And now Tim Robinson just having a little bit of a chat. I'm not sure what that's about. Still don't know what it's about. 93 for 5. Christian, first baller. Might have gone to Travaskis. Lee's claiming the catch. Could be a big moment. Next one's forced out on the offside, so Dan Christian is away for a single. Pam's been in touch from reception. We're missing the girls downstairs. Live stream brilliant. Missing everyone at Trent Bridge so much. If you can please say hello to everybody from me, especially the team, Mags and Jack and Sharon and Linda and Kate. Come on, Knots. Hopefully see you all soon. Thanks very much, Pam. 94 for 5. Next one is worked square of the wicket by Imad Wasim. It's never really satisfactory, is it, when there's one of those that one side thinks one thing and the other one has perhaps got away with a decision, but the game goes on. 95 for 5. You could hear somebody's thoughts perhaps very clearly there in the FX microphone. A loud sigh or grumble from somebody. Still no extras. 95 for 5. 7 overs to go. 10 and over would obviously take Knots to 165. Might need more than that. Durham in the box seat at the minute. 95 for 5.
Steele round the wicket now. Oh, that's a little popper to Imad. He just goes off towards point. Going round the wicket. How many overs has he bowled? 2.1 none for 18. That's another dot ball. That's 5 dot balls so far from him. In comes the bowler again, and that trickles down towards backward point. Steele once more round the wicket. Imad tries to drive, and the ball goes along the floor. I couldn't honestly find where that had gone there. I don't need glasses, by the way. I've had an eye test recently and said I had 20/20 vision, but
no, I'm with
it's
you.
so bright, it's difficult to follow the... Unless you're watching it with the binoculars, it's really difficult to follow where the ball's going here at times. Christian on strike now then, on 1. 96 for 5 after 13.4 here on BBC Radio Nottingham and BBC Radio Newcastle. Christian, the Knots skipper, waits as Steele comes round the wicket and looks to sweep, and has done, and that's gone for 4. Down towards fine leg. Straight off his line a little bit there. Scott Steele coming round the wicket. Christian waits as Steele bowls again and looks to sweep, and that bounces its way down towards long leg for 1, picked up by Lees. And that's the end of the 14th over, 101 for 5.
6 from the over. Knots need 1 or 2 big overs now if they're to put a challenging score on the board. Imad Wasim 3 from 7, Christian 6 from 4. Christian may have had a spot of good fortune. Somerset 100 for 4 after 14 overs against Gloucestershire in the West Country derby. Gloucestershire top of the group there. Somerset looking to qualify. Next ball, it's a low full toss as Christian walks towards it, clips it out as far as Coghlan. They come back for 2. It was a tumbling stop from Paul Coghlan, and he lost his cap, and then a shock of fairly lengthy floppy hair is revealed to all as he picks himself up and spears the ball back in. 103 for 5. Next ball from Travaskis on the pads of Christian. Again, he clips it out to Coghlan. Don't think we're going to see that hair again this time because he keeps his cap on. 104 for 5.
Thanks for the updates, says Michael Huntsman. Can you give a shout out to Philip Huntsman from Concert Cricket Club, who's listening in Queens in New York? Oh, it's morning there then, isn't it? Probably listening with a bagel. Whoa, we'll get after that.
Imad Wasim's got hold of that one, hit it over long on for 6 runs. Really came hard at Travaskis there. There's every reason to suggest that might be the cleanest strike of the day so far, and there's been 1 or 2 very prodigious hitters that have been and gone fairly cheaply earlier on. The ball just been shown to the umpire just to check that there isn't a piece out of it. Imad Wasim getting hold of Liam Travaskis, who's had a very interesting afternoon so far, and next one is hit equally crisply to Potts down below us at long off. Nelson on the board, feet off the ground, Marty, if you please. Christian on 9, Imad on 10.
These have already put on 19.
Yeah, it does help if you pummel the ball over the ropes a time or two, doesn't it? Travaskis coming towards the end of his spell, 2 balls left. Christian, well, he just blocks this one. Orthodox push into the offside by the not skipper. 10 from 5 balls in this over. Travaskis 2 for 24, then his figures, with 1 ball left and 5 overs to go. Next ball worked away by Christian for a single. 112 for 5, so 11 from the over, and Liam Travaskis has done 4 overs, 2 for 25. He's had a fairly successful time of things, getting rid of Alex Hales in the first over, and then came back to remove Ben Duckett for 29. That was in the 13th over. 112 for 5. Still Mullaney and Patel in the hutch. A couple more, of course, with Matt Carter and Jake Ball down the bottom. Also hope they're not needed. 112 for 5. Just 2 overs so far from Bryden Carse, so he's going to come back.
Carse from the pavilion end to Christian. Christian pulls the ball up towards mid-on for 1. Travaskis throws it back. It's gone between all the stumps, right across the middle of the wicket and down towards backward point. But they don't get an extra run.
If they'd been looking for the opportunity, they might have been able to steal the extra one there. A shot that was from Imad Wasim to lift Travaskis over the ropes in the previous over. Might fancy bowling on there, the Pakistan international.
He's on 10 at the minute as Carse bowls, and he looks to cut one and plays and misses. Shortish delivery. The Warwickshire 108 for 4 after 13 overs. Slow score of that one.
Bit of a recovery though, having been 20 for 4. Imad Wasim, of course, born in Wales, and pretty sure he's, if not the only one, he's one of very few Welsh-born players to have represented Notts. I think his father was working there at the time.
Durham should have been playing in Swansea this year against Glamorgan in June. Carse in, balls, and that's pulled up towards long on for 1 by Wasim.
Just wonder about the previous ball there, Martin. I wasn't really taking notice, except before Carse ran into bowl there was an awful lot of screaming, and an extra player was brought in off the ropes into the circle. And I don't know if they only had 3 from the previous ball, or it was just the fact that they'd crossed over. And
Dan Christian's needing some attention here for something. He's showing his hand to the physio.
yeah, James Pipe quickly out there. Got all the protective gear on and the face covering.
Who did James Pipe play for again? Was it Leicestershire?
He played for Derbyshire and Worcestershire.
Derbyshire and Worcestershire.
Wicket keeper. 114 for 5. Elsewhere then, Somerset 107 for 5 after 15 in the central group, where Birmingham Bears are 103 for 4 against Northants. Worcestershire going along nicely in the dead rubber in that group, 136 for 1 against Glamorgan. Derbyshire 135 for 2 at Headingley against Yorkshire. You're not missing any cricket here whilst Dan Christian continues to be attended to. Leicestershire Foxes 101 for 2 after 14 against Lancashire. And in the south, Essex 88 for 5 against Sussex, Hampshire 108 for 5 against Middlesex, and Kent 132 for 3 against Surrey. The relevance of all those scores will become apparent as the afternoon goes on, with 8 sides looking obviously to go through to the quarter-finals, and at the start of play 4 had guaranteed their slot, and there were another 7 trying to squeeze into the other 4 places, one of whom is Durham, who need to win here. Probably they might be able to get away with it. Marty's worked out with a narrow defeat.
In comes Cars balls, and Christian tries to drive and plays and misses at that one. We've got 2 balls left of this over.
But you'd need a couple of snookers, wouldn't you, if you lose this one? You're looking for favours from elsewhere then.
Yeah, for those in black and white, the brown's behind the black. Yeah, don't expect us to make any sense of any of this. We're going to have to wait till some computers work it out for us, probably about midnight tonight. I think I'll probably be back at Wetherby before I know whether they've got through or not. Christian's on 11 as cast balls from the pavilion end, and that was a wideish ball. Christian has to lean a long way to get after it, because initially he was backing off. And then he's at full stretch just to get the toe of the bat on that one. Played it out through the covers for 1. Still
no extras, but there would have been one there. And did you know the semi-final draw has already been done?
Has it?
Finals day, yes. So later on...
Peas pottage at home.
Well, no, the semi-final draw has already been done, or it's been stipulated. I'll tell you what it is in a moment.
Last ball of the over. Cast to Wazim. And the ball is pulled down towards the long leg boundary to our right for 1 run. 116 for 5 after 16 overs.
Yeah, just 4 from that one, so another tidy over from Bryden Carr. So at the end of today, there won't be a draw for the quarterfinals. The number 1 seed, if you like, the top-ranked team, the one that's got the best record finishing at the top of the group, will play against the number 8 seed, so that'll be the 3rd place qualifier with the poorest record. So first against 8th, so going into this round of matches, Notts had the best record, Somerset the 8th best in the country, so Notts would have played Somerset first against 8th. Well, they have drawn it that first against 8th will play against 4th against 5th at finals day. You'll be able to make more sense of that when we come.
Durham were the lowest ranked team in the One Day Cup when they got in through late qualification and won it in 2014.
There's Rimington bowls, and this one off the toe of the bat. It's gone quickly down to 3rd man, but it is a protected 3rd man area, so they only get a single. 117 for 5. Imad throwing the bat to semi-good effect. He's 13 from 13, but remember he did get 6 from just 1 blow, so there's been a number of dots there as well, of course. And Christian really hasn't fired yet, 12 from 11. Now's a good time.
You want to get in touch at Marty Cricket on Twitter, at Brace Cricket on Twitter, or you can email weircricket@yahoo.co.uk. We'll try and read your messages when we can, but bearing in mind, of course, it's quite frenetic, this format of cricket.
There's Rimington, bowling to the Notts captain. Gets that fairly high on the bat and punching it to Potts again at long on. 1 more to Dan Christian. 118 for 5. Been update for Radio Nottingham. I mean, the mere twinkling of an eye. 118 for 5 is the score in the 17th over. Here's Rimington. Bowling to Imad. Good afternoon, Alex. Notts at the moment, you'd say an under par score. They're in the 17th over and they're 118 for 5. Durham can still qualify. Notts have qualified for the quarterfinals, but they're probably guaranteed a home draw at that stage, but will want to win today to make sure. As I say, 118 for 5 put into bat. They lost Alex Hales in the first over and 2 more wickets in the power play. Chris Nash for 13 and Joe Clark for 22. A partnership of 49 then between Duckett and Moores rescued the innings to a certain extent, but then both followed each other back in consecutive deliveries. We've got Imad Wasim and Dan Christian at the crease at the moment with just over 3 overs to go. Notts need some runs. They're 119 for 5. That's an update for listeners to the local area, BBC Radio Nottingham. 119 for 5 it is. Christian on strike. Dave Bracegirdle and Martin Emerson with you as Rimington comes in and bowls, and Christian backs away and it goes through to the keeper. There's only one ball left in the over. I'm not sure who's over it. It's shorted out.
It's your end.
So we'll hear more from Mr. Emerson in a second.
19 days for Australia, Dan Christian. The last, though, was in 2014 against England in Perth. 16 T20 internationals. Last of those, 2017 against India. So England beat India in Perth at the 1992 World Cup.
119 for 5. Remington bowls to Christian, who's bowled. Nice and full. Australian bowls, Australian. Nathan Remington knocking over the Notts skipper, Dan Christian. And he's out for 13.
I think you might have got an inside edge there.
Christian has gone from his 14th delivery, just the 1-4 really. Dan Christian in a little bit of a blip of form. Could have gone first ball, of course. Certainly Durham thought they'd got him. Christian didn't make the most of the reprieve on this occasion. Here comes Stephen Mullaney, finding himself out there at number 8 in the order. So Samit Patel.
He's hardly batted this year, Samit Patel, in this competition.
He can come in no higher than 9th, obviously. And there's not going to be that many deliveries left for him to face if he gets to the crease. I'm sure he'll be hoping he doesn't, because that'll mean that Imad Wasim and Stephen Mullaney have managed to see the job through to the end. 3 overs left. There were just 3 from that Remington over, who's gone for a runner ball, 1 for 18 from 3 overs. And this looks very much as if it's a contest, very firmly in the hands of the visiting county at the moment. Durham very much on top from the moment that Remington won the toss. You always like to go into a knockout phase of a tournament on the back of a little bit of form, with a little bit of momentum, but I just wonder, with that long gap before a week on Thursday, the quarterfinals.
Potts in, and this is pulled by Wasim up towards wide, long on for 1 run. Liam Travaskis is up there.
I'm not sure what, a great performance today, what relevance it would really have on what happens a week on Thursday, which is a long time away. We know why they arranged it for October, because that's when they thought spectators would be allowed in, but it does enable everybody to get a bit of practice, but not a deal of match play.
In comes Potts, and that's driven by Mullaney up in the air and over the bowler, down towards safety at the far end of the ground. 1 run.
Nicely struck from Stephen Mullaney. His first ball sees him get a couple of runs. He's out in the final over on Friday evening at Leicester. Did it a big 6 just before he perished. Didn't have many balls to play with at the very end of the Notts innings.
Wasim faces Potts. Yorker digs it out. Sorry, it's Mullaney, isn't it? We got 2 there. I thought you only got 1. Got 2. Digs out a Yorker, dabs the bat down on the ball.
This is the thing with looking at scores from elsewhere and trying to judge who's on top as well. You can just never be sure how a wicket's playing. 140 on one ground is very different to 140 on another.
This is off the pad of.
This might be the first extra.
Leg by is signalled. Dave's big moment comes after 17.4 overs. He's been waiting for that extra.
I had that in the sweep, 17.4.
He's like somebody who's been camping out in the DFDS car park for the Christmas sales to begin since August.
You've got to admit it's unusual in this format for it to go as late as that. That's all I was making.
Mullaney drives that one way over the other side of the ground for 6. Straight over the covers.
Yes. That was easy to pick up, wasn't it? Or easy to follow in the air and hit it nice and high. We could clearly see that one against the dark background of the pavilion and the Batman board at the far end of the ground. What's needed there? They perhaps need 1 or 2 more from Stephen Mullaney and Imad Wasim.
2.1 overs to go here on Radio Nottingham and Radio Newcastle. Potts, none for 20. And that's out through towards the cover boundary for 1 run. Mullaney will keep strike, fielded by Coughlin. 2 overs to go then, 131 for 6.
12 from that over. I think it's quite a while since Notts had an over of that magnitude. 131 for 6. So 12 balls left. A run of ball is only 143, and Durham would have bit your hand off at the start to keep Notts to something or seen to be as low as that. Still might be enough. You're just never sure, are you? And I'm sure it's going to be a trial by spin with Imad Wasim, Matt Carter and Samit Patel, Mullaney taking pace off the ball as well. There's Remington. It's all the penultimate over. Durham skipper 1 for 18. Stephen Mullaney is on strike and clips it out onto the leg side. Immediately shouts for 2. Coughlin doing the field, and in fact they're only going to get 1. That's well done from Paul Coughlin. I think there was a shout of 2, but they didn't actually seem to be hearing for the first one particularly quickly.
Leicestershire at Lancashire, 121 for 3 after 17 overs.
132 for 6. Again, you see, on the face of it, you'd say that's not enough, but
they're all looking like those. Oh, hang on, Worcestershire's 167 for 2 against Glamorgan.
But you bowled Lancashire out for what, 80 odd on Friday?
Yeah.
132 for 6. Remington to bowl to Imad Wasim. The left-hander has 15. He's at 1-6 and he's got hold of this one and is drilled it back, partially stopped by the bowler. And unluckily for Durham, the ball sort of ends up in no man's land between the bowler and the long-on fielder. So Notts are able to take 2 runs.
Slammed it back into his right hand there.
Yeah, it was good work from Remington because he's probably saved the boundary, but
he's tough. He's got Skipton genes in him. They build them tough up there in sheep farming territory. My wife's from Skipton as well.
He will have enjoyed getting rid of Dan Christian, that's for sure. 134 for 6. Captain removing captain. Australian removing Australian. Here he is again, bowling to Imad Wasim, who goes on a little bit of a dance. And the ball has passed between Wasim and his off stump. He went that far across.
A little bit of a dance. I was thinking he'd gone off backpacking there.
Well, get him on Strictly.
He was so far away from the action. I thought, where's he walking to?
It might have been a wide, you know, if well, we don't know if Remington would have bowled it that wide had he not seen Imad Wasim setting off. But it's a dot ball. Only 9 balls left in the innings. 134 for 6. Remington full. Imad Wasim
just under the hip.
Clothed it to long on. Cast doing the field in just 1. 135 for 6.
2 balls to go. I immediately looked at the square leg umpire there to see if that was high, but he said it was pointed and said it was just under the hip.
Yeah, I think that was probably the right call. Judging from here, we're high up in the sky in our
Remington's got 2 balls to go here, and he looks worn out at the minute. He's been puffing away down there. Floppy long hair, that big beard.
Towel hanging out of his flannels as he runs away from us and bowls nice and full, driven by Mullaney. Straight down the ground, Carter's down here somewhere and then appears as we look over our TV gantry to find him spearing the ball back in. They only take a single, 136 for 6. Just 5 of.
What's the thing above us then, Dave? Is that a TV gantry as well?
Yeah.
tried a Yorker length ball there and took a bit of the pace off. This is his final ball. So 1 for 23 so far from 3.5.
Final ball of the 19th over. 7 balls left in the innings. Remington bowls Imad Wasim. Plays it out onto the offside. He'll only get 1. Fielded by Potts. 137 for 6. So just 6 from that over. And Remington has done a good job there. A run a ball. He's conceded 4 overs, 1 for 24. Notts need a big last over, you fancy. 137 for 6. 1 over left. Will be Matty Potts, 3 overs, none for 21. Was up amongst the leading wicket takers in the tournament going into this game. Hasn't picked up a wicket yet, but has had the support from bowlers at the other end. A couple of wickets for Travaskis, a couple for Coghlan.
Here he comes, bowls, and that's off the, was that off the leg? I think it was.
Yeah.
Inside of the leg, and that's a leg bite down towards fine leg on the discs. Still time for Potts to get a hat-trick yet. He got one in the final over at Leicester last year with the final 3 balls of the innings. He's been on a hat-trick twice this season. Stephen Mullaney, of course, will have other ideas. This partnership now worth 19 at 138 for 6. Mullaney's on 12 from 6. Wasim on 19 from 22. Potts right arm over from the pavilion end, and it's flicked in the air, and it's going beyond Steele down at fine leg, and he's not going to get to it. Oh, he does just. He was diving over the rope, managed to drag the ball back. I didn't think he was going to get to that one. It was a naughty little one that was just teasing him, hanging in front of him. A dangled carrot. 3 ran. Little ramp shot there from Mullaney.
Andy's asking if there are any reserve days set aside for the knockout matches. Absolutely not a clue.
New Year's Day.
I wouldn't have thought so. They'll find some way, I think, of
Lent.
of producing a winner on that Thursday night, I'm sure.
Potts in to bowl. Wasim drives high out into the... Oh, that's gone halfway up the stand in the deep mid-wicket area. And he just moved his back leg out the road to give himself some room there and thumped that one hard. Stiff arms. Just lofted it out into the deep. It's gone about a third of the way up the stand. One of the Durham lads is retrieving the ball now. 147 for 6. There's that Durham average score. So they're going to be chasing, you'd think, 151, 55, something like that.
Snooker maximum up there.
Don't know what that means.
147.
Is that how many games of interminably boring snooker you have to play to win a game? To win a tournament, is that right? Umpire's just having a look at the ball. Had a little tool out there, but he thinks it's okay to continue. Wasim's on 25. Durham could do without conceding any more 6s in the last 3 balls. Potts in again, bowls, and he drives hard at that one, and it bounces all its way up towards Bryden Carse at long off.
Hit it too well, hasn't he, really? If it just clothed it a little bit, they could have got 2. But there we are. Stephen Mullaney's also capable of hitting the ball many a mile.
2 balls left. Is this going to be a rare match without a wicket for Matty Potts?
Century for Worcestershire's Hamish Rutherford. He's now out, but Worcestershire against Glamorgan, a bit of a dead rubber, but a ton there.
Mullaney on strike. Oh, it's a wideish delivery, and
it's fine.
He looks back at the umpire as if to say, you're not going to flag that one, but I think he's just a little bit duped by a sudden change in direction there. Swordsy says, I hope we're chasing 147. They're not, because it's now 148. So last ball. Can they keep it below 150?
Very disciplined performance from Durham's bowlers. No wides or no balls.
Potts in, and that's a wide.
Still got it.
Yes.
I've still got it.
Well, Mullaney fell on his knee there trying to reach that one.
Had to dig deep for that one.
That's the 150 at 150 for 6. Potts none for 33 now from 3.5. Just have done without that there.
Years of experience.
Will this be a better delivery? I often see these bonus balls going to the boundary. Here he comes from the pavilion end to Mullaney, and he drives at that one, and it'll be 1 run. It's gone to Coghlan at the point boundary. So Durham are going to be chasing 152.
Mulaney's,
no, 151.
No, it's not gone up yet. It's 151 for 6. The score.
Now they added 2 on for the wide, didn't they? Now they're resetting the. It went from 148 to 150, and now it's gone back down to 149. But there's still a ball left to go, even though the players are walking off the pitch.
Yeah. So Mulaney will be 16 not out when the border's caught up. Imad Wasim, nice little attractive 26 not out from the spinner from 24 deliveries. A little bit of a surprise seeing him come in ahead of Mulaney and Samit Patel, who didn't get a bat. 150 for 6 is the score that Notts have set.
So at the halfway stage, the Outlaws post 150 for 6. Luke Fletcher joins me again. Looked quite tough out there at times for the lads, but 150 for 6. What's the feeling?
I would say you'd be slightly disappointed with that from a Notts point of view. In credit to Durham, they took wickets throughout, 3 wickets in the power play, and then carried that momentum on through the later overs. So yeah, I think Durham would be happy, but I don't think this pitch is as good as they have been at Trent Bridge so far. So the Notts bowlers will be looking probably, I'd imagine, to take pace off really, and go that way about it. So yeah, slightly below par, but we'll see.
From a power play point of view, 46 for 3. Obviously, you mentioned Durham took wickets throughout, but I mean, you look at that power play and then you look at 150. Is that a good partnership between Duckett and Tom Moores, for example? 49, that kind of just steadied the ship a little bit, didn't it? Yeah,
it did. Yeah, and you sort of want one of them to go through, really. Then, so to lose a succession of wickets quite quickly was tough. But credit to Mulaney and Imad there at the end. They got us up to 150. But yeah, I'd say Durham at the side at the minute. We think they'll be on top.
Okay, we've had some tweets in asking whether you're cold because you've got a coat on.
Yeah, I don't know why I've got a coat on. I walked out my house this morning and I looked up at the sky and it was a bit breezy, so I thought I'll put a coat on. And actually, it's not that thick, so.
Oh, so you're all right.
Yeah, so I'm not red hot, but I'm all right.
Okie dokie.
I can see that sun reflecting off your head as well.
Thank you very much. We'll move on quickly. If we look at the power play from Notts' point of view, will they be looking to take early wickets, just put that pressure back onto the Durham batsmen and build from there?
I think they'll definitely be aggressive, yeah. They'll look to take wickets, and they'll probably, like they have done throughout the whole competition, is use the spinners. So the likes of Imad Wasim, Samit Patel, Matt Carter, who's back in the side. So that will probably be the option they'll go down, because it seems that pace-off's been tricky to score. So I'd imagine we'll see a lot of spin.
And Durham, we mentioned them at the start. Obviously, they're on a bit of a run here, momentum-wise. They were very loud out there in the field. Obviously backing their bowlers. It's sort of to Notts to do exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go out there and, like I said before, you've got to be aggressive and back your skills and back yourself to execute your skills as well. So there's a lot of talent in this side. Jake Ball, Samit Patel. You're just looking around there, and there's a lot of good players who aren't playing as well. So you've likes of Trigo, Zach Chappell. So yeah, they'll back themselves to get the ball in the right areas and they'll be aggressive and try and take wickets.
I suppose today really is a prime example where the experience of that team, and you've been a part of that team for many years now, but you all know what you need to do, you all know a role, and it's leaning on that experience.
Exactly, yeah. I'd imagine it's probably the most easiest team to manage at the minute because the clarity of roles is everyone knew before the tournament even started. So it's been a side that's been together now for a while. Consistency and having Dan Christian over for 5 years now. So everyone's sort of improved their role, but they've known their role throughout. So nothing more to expect from that. Lads know exactly what they need to do when they're going to be required to do it.
Now, as always in previous games, we've run a man of the match that will be live halfway through this innings. So really, you'll be looking at somebody maybe like Jake Ball. You said take a pace off. Jake Ball just needs one more wicket for 400 wickets in his career, so he'll be looking to get that one nice and early, and maybe a little bit of a celebration from him potentially as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'd be nice. That, but, you know, he's had a terrific career. Jake, he's represented England in all three formats, and he's been quality for us for the last what's been in our 10 years or so, hasn't he? So that'll be nice for him. But there's plenty more wickets in the tank for Jake. He's still got years left. So, but yeah, it'd be nice for him to get 400.
So the lads are just actually out now. Bowlers going through their paces. What I'm asking really from you is, you're a bowler. You know what the score is. You know what you've got to defend. Do you relish that kind of opportunity, death bowling, opening?
You would do, yeah, if there was 18,000 there, but I mean...
We're not good enough, just...
Yeah, yeah, of course you do, yeah. Whenever it gets twitchy at the end of a game, I love it. I love the fact that I can win a game, but there is times where you might lose the game, do you know what I mean? So it's rough with the smooth, and bowling at the start and at the end, you know, you can be a hero or villain very quickly, so... but personally, I'd be happy to take that risk and back myself. So, as would a lot of the Notts players as well. We've been in this position many times here at Trent Bridge, in front of packed houses, and you know, you sort of learn very quickly whether you sink or swim. And a lot of lads playing now, they swim well.
Well, let's hope they swim well in their nice link into the second innings. So I will pass you back over to the match coverage team, and as always, that does include the voice of Dave Bracegirdle.
Marty, my
Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Trent Bridge with umpires Paul Baldwin and Tim Robinson now on their way out to the middle, with Durham set to score 151 to defeat Notts, and if they do that, then They'll be anxiously looking around the country. The two openers are on their way. Notts 150 for 6. Top score 29 from Ben Duckett. More often than not, 29 as your top score is not going to get the job done, is it?
Warwickshire, by the way, ended up making 191 for 5, so that'll have done their run rate the world of good.
That's not a bad score at Edgbaston, is it? Difficult side to predict though, Northants, with Sterling and Richard Levy at the top. They can be 2 for 2, or they can be a
Somerset against
90 for none after 6.
Somerset Gloucestershire was another game Durham need to look at. Somerset made 161 for 7 at Bristol, and the other match of note that could have an impact on them was Leicestershire's game at Lancashire. Leicestershire 154 for 5 against Lancashire at Old Trafford. Well, this is going to be an interesting one. 151 at 7.55. I think we're going to see a lot of overs of spin bowling here from Matt Carter, Wazim as well, Wazim Ahmad, and Mulaney taking the pace off the ball, Sami Patel. Yeah. I think this could be quite a challenge for Durham.
Graham Clark and Alex Lees are the two batsmen out there. Matt Carter is going to get things up and running, bowling the first over. Notts lost Alex Hales in the first over. Notts will be desperately looking to make early inroads here. See if Matt Carter can settle down quickly and get amongst the wickets.
These two put on 105 for the second wicket when the sides met in Chesley Street. Carter bowls, turned by Clark. First ball off towards mid-wicket for 1 run. It was a second wicket pairing because Steele opened with Lees that day. Pigeons flying past, blue skies. Gorgeous day here in Nottingham.
There'll be an update for Radio Nottingham listeners in just a moment. Matt Carter going to bowl to Lees. A single taken here. Very nice indeed. Yes, shame the season's coming to an end, but all the fun has to stop at some time. Durham have just started their reply. They're in pursuit of 151, and that's after Notts were restricted to what in the end, well, not really sure if it's an under par target. In fact, Notts have got a wicket here. I'll tell you about that in a second. But Notts got 150 for 6. Top score was only 29 by Ben Duckett. You're not usually going to get the job done if you've got a top score of 29, but Tom Moore's 24, Clark 22, and Imad Wazim, who came in and played some nice shots towards the end, 26 not out. So Notts 150 for 6. And as I say, we're not entirely sure yet how good a score that is, but it looks a little better now because as you join me, Graham Clark, dangerous hitter at the top of the order for Durham, has just chopped Matt Carter to backward point. Peter Trigo's on the field as a sub, his first involvement of any sort for Notts in the Blast competition, and he's picked a catch out of the air. So Durham 2 for 1 in pursuit of 151.
I don't know who he's substituted, but he's a cracking fielder to bring on.
Ben Rain is the new batsman. We'll have a little look in a moment. Just doing that update
straight at him, wasn't it? Dan Christian had an issue with his hand, didn't he? But is he out there?
Have a look in.
Mulaney seems to be getting people up for this.
No, Dan Christian's at mid-wicket. I'll sort it for you in a second.
Ben Rain's the new batsman. Oh, and he plays that down into the ground off his toe. Carter in again. Rain sweeps, and it's cut off by Joe Clark. Backward square leg. I think Durham are going to be right up against it here. There's corner balls, and that's turned around the leg side by Rain for 1. So end of the first over, 5 for 1, 9 for 1 Notts were.
It's Chris Nash who's off the field, thanks to Michael Temple for just coming to my aid, just as I virtually got around all the team, crossing them off there. But Chris Nash not on the field. Peter Trigo out there as sub-fielder, taking a catch and Matt Carter with an early boost to his confidence, getting that catch. Looks as if Jake Ball's to bowl the second over. So elsewhere, Somerset made 161 for 7, Gloucestershire 8 without loss after 1 over, Birmingham 191 for 5 between innings there against Northants. Other relevant scores: Leicestershire 154 for 5 against Lancashire, Essex 136 for 9 against Sussex, all these at the halfway stage. Kent made 159 for 8 against Surrey in the South Group. Just have a little bit more of a look at the tables. Once we get probably beyond the halfway point, you sort of get an idea of those games that are going to be tight and those that are going to be one-sided victories, and the one-sided victories sort of help you to fill in the gaps in your grid as to who's going to play where. Yep. Here's Jake Ball, here's Marty.
Ball in from the Ratcliffe Road end. That's 1 run to Rain. Just plays it on the offside to Samit Patel coming in from point. We've switched ends here, Dave. I'm discombobulated now.
Well, I did my update through your previous
over.
over.
That's very generous of you.
We like to share things around.
Jake Ball has played in 71 T20s up to now.
Didn't play. They're going to give him a rest on Friday evening.
82 wickets. He's taken 7 times. This is drilled by Lees up towards mid-off. Dot ball there as Alex Hales fields it.
Got 12 wickets in the competition. Jake Ball bowled very nicely on occasions.
He got 3 for 28 in the last match against Leicestershire. He's had 3 for 36 against Yorkshire.
Yeah, that was the Leicestershire home game. He didn't play at Grace Road.
In comes the bowler, and that's an edge and down towards third man for Lees, who gets 1 run. Lees is starting the day as one of the leading batsmen in the country, 337 runs and an average of 56, 4 centuries. Highest score 77 not out against Derbyshire, a new personal best. He was ranked 4th in the country going into this innings.
Yeah, skippered Yorkshire, didn't he? In his last year or two in the Blast competition. Of course, Peter Trigo on the field did open for Notts in that Bob Willis Trophy game, as you rightly point out. It seems like 2 months ago, but it was only the middle of last week.
I had to look back through that entire scorecard last night to refamiliarise myself with a match that we commentated on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ball to Rain. And Rain looks to drive and plays and misses to a rising ball, which goes to the keeper. We do have a slip in as well, which you don't often see.
It's Mr. Tickle, Matt Carter.
He's probably got the biggest arms reach of anybody on the field.
Not going to put a second slip in, surely.
Looks like the other. Dan Christian's gone in there. As Ben Rain noticed.
I'm sure he'll have noticed the extra gaps out in the field.
In comes Ball. Rain edges down towards third man. It doesn't carry. 1 run. Never looked like it was going to carry despite the shouts of the slip cordon. Fielding down there is Trigo.
Yes, they shook virtual hands, didn't they, at the end of that Bob Willis Trophy game. It did look as if Notts were going to try and take on something that was around about, 11 or 12 and over, and Trigo came out and started blasting the ball around all different parts of West Bridgeford, but they shook hands on the draw in the end.
Ball to Lees. Lees pulls that off towards the square leg boundary for 1. And Durham are 9 for 1 after 2, and they're under the cosh already, you feel.
What, you pessimist, you? What did you say they were chasing? 7 and over?
Well, they have started off slow. No, they are under the cosh at the minute. I'm not saying that they're out of this by any stretch of the imagination, just they're in a precious situation, having lost Graham Clark, who, normally tees off well at the top of the innings. Seen a couple of big partnerships from these two this year as well, actually. Yeah. Rain's had a couple of 50s.
You're going to approach the power play overs rather differently if you're chasing 150 than if you're chasing 190, though. They don't need to go hell for leather in these first 6.
True.
It's Carter bowling. And Lees does go hell for leather and slams this down the ground into the pavilion. It's gone onto the steps, and a couple of the Durham squad are sat there in the white
Don't
plastic
think Alex
seats
Lees was
watching
listening
on.
to you there.
No, first ball has gone for a big 6 off Carter. Fine start to the over, so Carter's playing catch-up now. That was a clean hit. He comes again and he's missed it. It's gone through to Tom Moores.
Tell you what, his foot looked like it was coming up as well for a second there. He was off balance.
I don't think it was as close to the off stump as perhaps one or two of them were making you believe, but as you say, might have toppled over and been stumped. But he wasn't. 15 for 1. Next ball sees him force it into the offside for 4. Duckett's at point inside the circle, but could do nothing to stop that. And now Dan Christian immediately as a response asked Stephen Mullaney to come out of slip and reinforce that offside. 10 from 3 balls. Durham are up and running. Notts were 16 for 1. No, they weren't. They were 18 for 1 at the end of the third over as Lees comes and just fends this one away to take another single. So Durham are already ahead at 20 for 1 with 2 balls left in the third. More of an orthodox player normally, Alex Lees, obviously opening the batting in county championship cricket, but as we've already seen, he does possess the ability to drive the ball a long way. That was a big 6. 21 for 1 as Rain takes a single. Another player who's hurt Notts several times in the past, both in the colours of Leicestershire and indeed in his 2 spells for Derbyshire. That was turned from Carter. It's beaten Lees, it's beaten Tom Moores, and we'll go for 4 somethings. Let's have a look at the umpire now. There's a little bit of bat on it. It's 4 to the batsman. So that was a very, very healthy over indeed for Durham. And it's 25 for 1. 16 coming from that over from Matt Carter, whose first one brought the wicket of Graham Clark. His second one got off to the worst possible start when Alex Lees hit him for 6, and then the over ended with Lees hitting him for 4.
Well, Rain's got a century to his name in this format. 113 for Leicestershire against Warwickshire in 2018. Made 83 against Notts as well. And then he got 50 not out against Leicestershire recently. And 71 against Derbyshire, including 8 sixes in that innings, a joint club record. And Dan Christian is going to bowl now. Right armour from the Radcliffe Road end to Rain, who looks to drive and plays and misses to a ball that leaves him outside the off stump.
I think Birmingham look favourites to beat Northants. Steel backs Birmingham Bears 191 for 5. Northants are 2 for 1, and Richard Levy's out already. A lot depends on Levy.
He who laughs last and all that. Northants twice on finals day in 2016, 9 for 3, won them both.
That would put paid to Northants' chances if Birmingham do win that, of course.
In comes the ball. That's played down towards mid-on, 1 run. So do Durham need Birmingham to lose or win? I can't even remember anymore now. Doesn't matter. It was all about Somerset this morning, wasn't it?
I think you need to win and 2 other results go your way.
Right.
In Gloucester to beat Somerset, or Northants to beat Birmingham, or Middlesex to beat Sussex, and I think you need 2 of those 3. But then you brought the run rate into the equation, which completely befuddled me.
Christian to Lees. Lees drives, and it's this might go to the boundary.
Well,
it's nicely placed, that actually. He's put that between cover and Alex Hales at mid-off, and he just bisected the 2 of them. Was he mad down there? Couldn't get across to that either.
You know, it's coaches speak, isn't it? We've heard them all say it in the past. You can't control what's going on around the country in other games. All you can do is look after your own game. All Durham can do here is chase down 151 and then have a little bit of a look and just see if Lady Luck has given them a hand. And of course,
and then let the experts at Jodrell Bank try to work out what happens next. 30 for 1, Lees on 22. Christian bowls, Lees cuts. It's gone to Samit Patel at backward point. No run. Of
course, there is the possibility. In fact, it's
a tie.
If if Durham do get over the line here and scrape through, there's the possibility that the
here.
quarter-final could see them back here.
Well, that'll be the shortest journey for them, isn't it? Or Lancashire, I suppose.
30 for 1. Good start, but...
Lancashire have qualified for all but 4 quarter-finals going across 18 seasons now. As Christian comes in and bowls. Thumped down the ground by Lees for 4. Woohoo! That made a dint. What's Notts? How many years have they managed it? Is there some statistic that sticks in your head or not?
Well, the current run is they have qualified for the quarterfinals this year, whatever happens in this match, so that will be their 10th qualification in 11 seasons. There were a couple more before then, but
well, that's good going, isn't it?
10 in 11 years. 2015 they missed out.
34 for 1, leads on 26. Last ball of this 4th over. It's gone down the leg side and he taps it off towards long leg for 1 more. 35 for 1.
Yeah, 10 from the over. That does nothing to aid the Outlaws' chances, and it's a very decent over.
Reminder,
as far as Durham are concerned.
If Durham win this one, then they equal the club record of 5 straight wins from the 2018 season. That began at Warwickshire. They then beat Notts home and away, and in between those fixtures beat Worcestershire and then beat Northants.
Gloucester 20 for 2 at Bristol. Somerset scored 161. Going to have Imad Wasim, who has been opening the bowling in most matches for Notts. Got Wayne Madsen out first ball here on Thursday evening. First ball of the match. Here he is, in and bowls. In fact, first ball of the Derbyshire innings, obviously. This is pushed into the offside. And Trigo doing the fielding. They take a single. In fact, it was first ball of the match, wasn't it? On that occasion. 36 for 1. Ben Rayner 7 now. He's back on strike. 7 from 9 balls. Let's have 5 inside the circle on the offside. Walking in with the bowler, trying to. This is hit to mid-off and taken. Good catch. Really good hands, Alex Hales. And out goes Ben Rain. He's drilled Wasim. Couldn't have hit it much harder. It was like a drive straight down the fairway. Absolutely got hold of it, but it was always about 4.5 feet above the ground and straight into the hands of the reliable Hales, who's become such a good catcher of a cricket ball over the years. Took a really good catch there, and Ben Rayner's gone for 7 from 10 balls, 36 for 2 in the 5th over. Ben Rain won't hurt Notts anymore today. David Beddingham, who had a quiet time of things in the Bob Willis Trophy game all those days ago now, 9 or 10 days ago here. A couple of lowish scores for Beddingham on his return to Nottinghamshire.
He's due a score today because he's had 1 half-decent total in this tournament so far this year. He gets himself out, caught regularly out in the mid-wicket area.
Kept wicket tidily enough earlier on, caught Tom Moores.
33 is his top score, weeks ago now it seems.
So Imad Wasim striking with just his 2nd delivery. It's going to go round the wicket to the right-handed Beddingham. Clips it to almost the same position where Alex Hales was when he took that catch off Ben Rain, but Hales had been dropped back onto the fence for the new arrival. Pushed him out to long on. Now they're bringing him back inside the circle for Alex Lees. 2 men out for Lees are at long on and at deep square leg, and he's gone on the sweep and missed it. Tom Moores is claiming a stump, and he's got him! Brilliant work from Moores, who knew. He whipped off a bail and celebrated instantly, and then up went the finger of Tim Robinson, and Alex Lees has to go. And if ever there was a momentum and match changer, that was it. Brilliant from Tom Moores, who stumped Lees.
I would like to see the side-on angle of that, because his foot was firmly on the floor. His heel was up in the air, but his toes and the ball of his foot were on the floor. So I'd like to see where exactly it was from side on.
Tim Robinson international umpire right in line, and he had a good look and raised the finger. Moores was absolutely convinced. He whipped a bail off and had gone. He'd gone running down to celebrate. He knew. So Alex Lees has made an error there. 28 from 15 balls, 4 fours and a 6. Really did look in the mood, was striking the ball beautifully, but 2 in the space of an over from Imad Wasim. And Notts have got their visitors 37 for 3. Here comes Farhan Behardine, who maybe 3 years ago, something like that, 2-3 years ago, played very briefly for Notts seconds. He was in the country playing club cricket. They had a little bit of a look at him, but for various reasons, visas always get brought into the equation and what have you, and availability and agents and a million other things. But he played briefly for Notts second team, but didn't hang around for too long. South African international, of course. He's out there to face the Pakistan spinner Imad Wasim. What an over this has been, and Wasim's figures are 2 for 2.
Well, we haven't seen a replay of that stumping. His heel was up in the air, but his toes were very much clamped down on the ground when he was given out there. So
here's Imad Wasim in to Behardine, and I've not seen a replay, but on 2 things I've seen, the reaction of Tom Moores and Tim Robinson giving it, I would assume he's lifted his foot. Imad Wasim is in and bowls, and this is pushed down the ground. They're both at the same end. They're both at the same end. There's going to be a run out, and there is. Absolute suicide for Durham. Absolute suicide. Imad Wasim has executed the run out of David Beddingham. It was pushed by Behardine to the left of the bowler, got a hand to it. The ball ran away from him. Behardine may have called him, but he certainly carried on running, which prompted Beddingham to leave his end, the non-striker's end, and suddenly they were both halfway down with nowhere to go. And real composure from Imad Wasim, who decided quite rightly not to throw the ball anywhere, but just to advance the 5 or 6 steps and whip off a bail himself. Calamity for Durham, as Beddingham is run out for 1 and Durham are 37 for 4. What an over this has been. It's come to a conclusion now for Notts, with 3 wickets going down. Clark was out earlier for 1, and then Rain for 7, Lees for 28, and now Beddingham run out for 1, and Durham 37 for 4 after 5 overs. Real game changer. Samit Patel is going to bowl the 6th over.
what a very, very damaging over that could prove to be. I mean, there was never a run on there. Beddingham didn't set off initially. Farhan Behardine got up the wicket, then turned round and set back, and as he was turning to go back, Beddingham then set off.
You know, when you were 7 and your dad was lobbing you a few tennis balls in the garden and you went for one, and he said, never run to a misfield.
Yeah, oh, that's what they used to tell you at school as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's a long way back from Durham now for this, I would say.
New man is Bryden Carse, who walloped a few at Chesterley Street, if memory serves. Going to face Samit.
First ball from Patel back to the bowler.
Northants 28 for 3 against Birmingham.
This one's driven down the ground too long on. Well, it hasn't got going for Durham here. Was that the last ball of the over, the run out?
Yeah. Second ball, 4th ball and 6th ball. The wickets to go down in that over.
What a damaging over that was from a Durham perspective. How do they recover from this? Eddie in on strike as Patel comes round the wicket, and he goes back into his crease and nudges the ball back to the bowler, and Notts feel they're right on top here.
In those days where nice shiny medals, gold awards were given to players, Imad Wasim I think would be a front runner at the moment right now for this one.
Patel, that's played slightly in the air towards short extra cover. Christian is in short extra cover. Just ordering the field around here. Ben Duckett is going in there as well, so they've got 2 at short extra cover. for Aberdeen. Patel bowls, and he drives this one down to Alex Hales at mid-on for 1. Durham need a big partnership here, otherwise it's curtains. Yep. They could still lose today and go through, but I think they would need a lot of jiggery-pokery for that to happen. This is played by Carse out to short extra cover. We suggested the spinners might play a crucial part in this one, and the power play ends. Has it ended or not? Yes, with 39 for 4, so Durham have lost the power play because Notts were 46 for 3.
Last 2 overs, Durham 4 for 3. 2 overs from the 2 spinners. Samit Patel none for 2. Imad Wasim 2 for 2 and the run out as well. So now Dan Christian can dispatch some fielders into the deep. And he's going to bring on Stephen Mullaney from the pavilion end here at Trent Bridge. Those black screens up right across in front of the committee rooms, in front of the long room. Tarpaul in there, draped across the seats. He's going to be bowling to Farhan Bardeen, who's faced 5 balls for his 1 run, was involved in that run out of Beddingham. Here is Mullaney then to bowl to Bardeen. Tom Moore's standing back from the first delivery anyway. This is pushed into the offside and there's no run. You'll see Tom Moore's, I'm sure, before too long, standing up to the stumps to Mullaney. What a wonderful stumping that was to get rid of Lees. This one's clipped to long on for a single. 40 for 4, Durham, requiring 111 more to win from 13.4 overs. The rate is just above 8 now. Brighton Carse is the batsman on strike. And here comes Tom Moores, pops the helmet on and stands up. Mullaney to bowl to Carse. Just scamper through for a quick single. 41 for 4. The men out in this innings: Clark for 1, Lees for 28, Rain for 7, Beddingham for 1. Lees falling for 28 means that Ben Duckett still is the top scorer in the match with that 29. I think if that remains, then Notts will win comfortably. Durham needs somebody to make a really good contribution here, and it might be one of this pair as Bardeen punches it down the ground for a single. 42 for 4. South Africans on 3. Bryden Carse just a single. Imad Wasim might feel a little disgruntled that he wasn't asked to bowl the next over from the pavilion end, having done so well in his previous one. 2 for 2 and a run out, which he executed himself. There's Carse dropping this on the leg side. They'll go for 2. In comes the shy at the stumps, and had that been a direct hit, admittedly from distance, then I think Farhan Bardeen might have been on his way back. It was pretty good work there from Dan Christian, coming in from the deep mid-wicket fence. Could afford to shy at the stumps. There were lots of backer-uppers already in place. There's Stephen Mullaney in once more, bowls, hit into the offside. Oh, it's gone over the head of Carter and gone for 4. Just for a moment, the ball skewed off the outside edge, looped up in the air, and Matt Carter, tall as he is inside the discs at short third man, unable to either backpedal quickly enough or reach high enough. It was always just dropping over his head and ran away for 4. 48 for 4 at the end of the 7th over. First one bowled outside the power play by Stephen Mullaney went for 8 runs. 48 for 4. And it looks as if Carter's going to get a second over. Gloucestershire 45 for 3 after 7, chasing Somerset's 162. Northants now 47 for 3 after 5, chasing Birmingham's 191. They are in important games, and you expect, or I'm expecting, not quarter-final opponents to sort of come from that little trio there, Somerset, Birmingham, Northants. 48 for 4. Might not work out like that. We'll have a look. Next ball, Carter bowls. And Bowdine works it away on the leg side. Could also be Sussex, who would play against Notts. Essex 136 for 9 at Chelmsford, so not the most testing of targets, and Sussex already 48 for 2 after 5. 49 for 4 is the score here. Make that 50 for 4 as Bryden Cast works Carter away on the leg side. Just about 3 o'clock. This match started at 1 with Notts put into bat. Made 150. That's Carter bowls, and Durham just ticking along. Just taking singles here, just milking the bowling at the moment in this over. 3 balls, 3 leg side singles. Mulaney and Christian just trying to get in the right position there on that leg side just to stop one, and this one's hit down the ground and it will go all the way. 4-6 runs it will indeed. That's a nice blow. That was needed. Bryden Cast came a-charging at Carter. Might just get the innings going with that shot. Ball thrown back to the bowler Carter, who does show the umpire, Tim Robinson. Ball's okay. Carter bowls short of a length down the leg side, helped on its way. There will be just the 1 run. Is that returning it? Jake Ball in the far distance. 58 for 4. Durham require 93 more. Final ball of the 8th over. This could be a boundary. Nice little deft run down to third man by Bowdine. That was a cute shot. Lovely cricket shot. Expensive over as far as Notts were concerned. Went for 14, so Carter 3 overs 1 for 35. He dismissed Graham Clark in the first over of the innings. 62 for 4 Durham, which means they now require 89 from 12. Certainly very capable. It's been brought down to just a whisker under 7.5 and over. So despite being 4 wickets down, still some strength there, still some very capable bodies in that Durham middle order. Scott Steele is listed to come in next. Paul Coghlan, Liam Travaskis, Matty Potts and Nathan Rimington. Here's Patel to bowl to Cars. Samit Patel into his second over. His first one only went for a couple of runs, but single conceded there straight away. 63 for 4. Bowdine has 9. Now he's into double figures as he just drags this on the leg side. .64 for 4. There's Patel. Bowls to Cast, can't get that one away. Nice and full from Patel. Notts coaching staff watching on from high above the pavilion. They see Samit Patel do well now to stop off his own bowling as Cast, for the second delivery in a row, can do nothing against that delivery. And Christian tinkering with the field once more, now bringing himself from mid-wicket over to in fact it's Imad Wasim is moving to backward point. Next ball outside the off stump, flailed out there towards Joe Clark. And comes the throw from deep. 65 for 4. Cars has 17 from 13 balls, Behardine 10 from 12. The Radio Nottingham update is imminent as Patel comes in again. Another single taken, 66 for 4. And that's the end of the 9th. Very much so, yes. Notts made 150 for 6 when you were last with me. Notts had just picked up the first wicket. Well, they've now gone on to take 4 Durham wickets. The visitors 66 for 4. They require 85 more then from 11 overs at 7.7 an over. But the 1 over that was sent down by Imad Wasim really did change the complexion of the game. The 5th over, the Pakistan international, 3 wickets fell during it. A sharp stumping from Tom Moores to dismiss Alex Lees, a catch from Alex Hales in the deep to remove Ben Rain, and then a real mix-up between a couple of batsmen fresh at the crease resulted in David Beddingham. He's the one that used to play his club cricket locally here for Plumtree. He was run out by Wasim for 1, so 3 wickets went down, all in a cluster. It's left Durham 66 for 4, needing 85 more now from 11 overs. Here is Wasim back into the attack, and also back into the attack here in the commentary box, Martin Emerson.
Yes, I don't know if you've welcomed listeners on 5 Live Sports Extra, but we are with them briefly. Your Top Gear's tuned from somewhere.
We have indeed, yeah.
He is the man who caused all the damage earlier on. Imad Wasim, that's his 1 run. Played by Cast down towards long on. Durham need 83 more. They need a partnership of some substance here. This one's worth 31. But Graham Clark, who's been firing quite nicely at the top of the order, was out for just 1 in the first over today. Rain made 7. Zoom round the wicket, and this is just played up towards long off for 1 by Behardine. Left arm round the wicket from the Radcliffe Road end. A little nibble down towards third man on the discs by Cast. 1 run.
We've had 15 batsmen, go out to the middle today for various lengths, and nobody's reached 30. I think it is a slightly difficult pitch for the batsmen to go out there and play with any great degree of certainty. 1 or 2 have tried and perished.
2 balls left of this 10th over, and this is turned out through mid-wicket for 1 run. I mean, Durham could actually do it more or less in singles, couldn't they? You know, with the odd boundary chucked in here and there, but 80 more needed to win. 71 for 4.
Just gets harder for the new batsmen, as you say. You need a partnership somewhere along the line. We haven't had one of 50 yet in the match.
Cast's best scores 35. And that was this year against Lancashire. And this is played to wide, long on for 2. Good running there from Durham. And 10 overs have gone. 73 for 4. They're nearly at the halfway stage. At the halfway stage. 78 needed.
Yeah, 7 from that over. They need just under 8 an over, so absolutely nothing to worry about for Durham, apart from the fact they've lost Graham Clark for 1, Alex Lees for 28, Ben Rain for 7, and David Beddingham, the victim of a real old mix-up there. He was run out for 1. Second ball, he was at the crease. Him and Behardine both found themselves having a bit of a gentleman's excuse me in the middle of the strip. 73 for 4. Dan Christian, the Notts captain, is going to bring himself on for the 11th over. Christian's previous over went for 10 runs.
We never saw a side on dismissal for the stumping of Alex Lees. I've frozen this, and his foot is down on the ground behind the white line. His heel's in the air, but his toes are on the floor.
73 for 4. There's Christian in. Bowls, and this has dropped on the leg side nicely. As Martin said, that's all Durham need to do at the moment. Just work 5 or 6 singles as we say goodbye to listeners on 5 Live Sports Extra.
That was brief.
It was indeed, yep. Oh, Brace Girdle and Emerson at Trent Bridge. Let's move on. 74 for 4. Hope the rest of you are enjoying the coverage, and it's one of those days, isn't it? You've got to cherish it whilst it's here, but we realise all too soon that we are going to be very shortly without cricket. finals day, T20 finals day, the Blast finals day, a fortnight yesterday. 74 for 4. This one's dropped on the leg side by Carse. I think had we been getting towards the business end of this run chase, they'd have gone for 2 there. Just dropped it on the leg side, and they were both content just to amble a single rather than really push their luck and try for 2.
Lees has been involved in 2 issues of interest today. That catch from Dan Christian when he was on none, which the umpires decided they couldn't give out because they weren't sure if it had carried, and Lees was convinced it had.
75 for 4. In comes Christian. Bowls. Can he field off his own bowling? He can't. It's pushed wide of him by Behardine, who moves on to 16. 76 for 4. Don't think he's in the South African ranks at the moment, is he? I don't think he's featured. He's not featured for a while.
Yeah, he's given up on that now, hasn't he? He's played for them nearly 100 times in white ball cricket.
Oh yeah, been a very, very fine player, and has appeared in 1 or 2 World Cup tournaments. 2015, I think, down in the one held in Australia and New Zealand. He had 1 or 2 memorable scores, if memory serves. 76 for 4. There is Dan Christian bowling to Bryden Carse, who just helps it all the way up to long on to Alex Hales. And this partnership now into the 40s. 40 from 34. It's just been absolutely what Durham needed, desired, ordered, requested.
What you're saying in the news about you don't want days like this to end because it's the cricket season, but
Christian bowls. Next one is dug out. Only, in fact, they won't get any this time because Patel cuts it off, moving sharply to his left at mid-wicket.
You don't want days like this to end anyway, knowing that October's not far away. Last year in October, you could have been swimming anywhere. It was that wet. The year before, it was so hot. I remember going for walks along the seafront in shorts and t-shirts right into mid-October. It was a lovely month. But
77 for 4. Behardine on strike on 16. Dan Christian bowls to all down the leg side. That'll have to be re-bowled, Captain Dan. He bowled 3 in a row of those at the Fisher County Ground, Grace Road, on Friday evening, and they actually put the bowler's particular over up on the board, so it went WWW, and it was it looked like he got a hat-trick, but
what are they meant to be? Little points, or what was it, little triangles or something?
No, they were wides, 3 wides in a row. Next ball is clipped to Patel. Catch by Samit at mid-wicket. Top order catch. Really fine work, and Behardine goes, and Dan Christian has recovered well. The 7th ball of the over, I think, has got the wicket. It has indeed, and it's 78 for 5. Really good work by Samit Patel in there, catching at short mid-wicket. That's why they'd shoved him in there, and it really was going crisply. Nice work. Behardine out from 20 balls faced, just the 1 boundary. And that might just once again tilt things back a little towards Notts. Durham by no means out of it, as we were saying, and just keep ticking along for a while at 5 6s and 7 and over if they can get it, because they have got depth with Scott Steele doing next, Paul Coghlan,
Steele's not coming in, yes.
Coggers, yeah.
Steele's been coming in about 8 or 9.
There is Coghlan.
Thumped it hard there. Initially I thought Samit had got across to it, but it looked like it might have bounced out of his hand, but he managed to recover the situation. Sharp reflexes. Quite close into the bat as well.
It's very good work indeed. 78 for 5. Dan Christian's 3rd wicket of the qualifying competition. Stephen Mullaney is going to come on to bowl his 2nd over, first from the Radcliffe Road end. He'll be bowling to Carse. A lot depends now on Bryden Carse, because he's got the start. He's on 23 from 18. Can it a long ball? North answer 56 for 5. I think it's fair to say they're not going to challenge that Birmingham score of 191.
So what's that? 11 overs gone. In Mullaney comes and turned towards square leg by Bryden Carse for a single.
Now Mullaney's a whisker away from 2 milestones here. He's on 99 T20 wickets, but he's on 98 T20 wickets for Notts. He took 1 in his very early days as a county cricketer for Lancashire, and then moved to Trent Bridge, and the next 97 have come for Notts.
Pushed out on the offside by Coghlan, a bit of a false shot, but it's gone towards point for 1.
Just wobbles it around Mullaney, just varying his pace between slow and even slower. Describes it himself as fairly gentle dobbers. But he's been such a good player over the years and continues to be so.
Here he comes. That one's played back to him by Cast, who's on 24 from 20 now, 80 for 5 Durham.
You've really got to apply any pace to the ball when Mullaney is bowling, and the one had almost stopped on Bryden Cast, trying to manipulate it away, and the ball wasn't there to do it.
Mullaney once more from the Radcliffe Road, and this is going to be out surely. It's a one-handed lofted shot towards backward point from Cast. He's gone for 24. Durham 80 for 6 now, and are staring at a defeat here. And after a brilliant run of 4 straight wins, it's all unravelling rather nastily this afternoon. And I'm wondering where a victory-grabbing partnership can come from. Cast departs for 24, and Durham still need quite a lot of runs, don't they? What's the score now? 80, so they still need another 71.
So congratulations to Stephen Mullaney. That's his 100th wicket in this format, and it's 99th for Notts, so we might be saying congratulations again if he gets another one in this innings. He's won for Lancashire, by the way, funnily enough. Here's one you can tell your friends. He played for Lancashire here on this ground against Notts. He played 3 games for Lancashire at the start of his career, 2 against Durham, funnily enough, both at the Riverside in successive years. And then he played here at Trent Bridge in 2009, I think it was, and he got Paul Franks out. And then he moved to Trent Bridge that winter. 80 for 6.
2 balls left. The batsman cross, so Coghlan's on strike and pushes the ball for a quick single towards point.
Yeah, the problem I think with Bryden Cast is just what I was saying. There was no pace on the ball, was there? He went for the big hit, but just wasn't there to do it.
Took his bottom hand off the bat, played it one-handed up into the air.
And just scooped up, and Matt Carter gobbled up a fairly simple catch. Just waiting for Scott Steele to take strike.
Steele on strike. That's a slow full toss. Attempted Yorker really off stump, and it's played down towards Ben Duckett at long off for 1 run. End of the over. 8 to go. Durham needs 69 to win.
That was terrific from Mullaney. Just 4 from the over and the wicket. So that required run rate is now climbing quite steeply. 8.63 and over required by the Durham lower order. They've only got 8 overs left, requires 69 from 8. And they've seen the top 6 all depart. Still nobody in the match has reached 30. A little bit of a strange old day in that respect. Here is Samit Patel. It was a good catch from Patel to get rid of Behardine that ended that stand. There he is, left arm round, bowls, chopped away nicely by Steele. Out there for Joe Clark, who's had a quiet time of things, really. He's only fielded 2 or 3 out there. Strange as some matches the ball tends to go to you. Maybe even a couple or 3 times and over, and then others you're almost a spectator. Next one is dropped on the leg side. In comes Christian, underarms it into the stumps, but Steele had been sent back. 84 for 6. Steele has 3, changing the field. Northants lose another wicket. They're 71 for 6, requiring 120 from 10 overs to beat Birmingham. I think we can cross Northants out of the equation. Durham hanging by a... Oh, brilliant! Oh, Imad Wasim is having a day and a half. He's thrown the stumps down from distance, and Scott Steele goes for 3. Umpire Baldwin had a really good look at that one. but it seemed even from here as if Steele was short of his ground, and Wasim, dead-eye Dick today, throws the stumps down to run out Scott Steele 4-3, and it's 84 for 7. Brilliant work. There was a little bit of a shall we, shan't we, but that takes nothing away from the accuracy of Imad Wasim. Coughlin was quickly down to this end, so he had to throw for the far end, and that's brilliant work. Durham's season potentially slipping away from them unless Coughlin and 9-10 Jack can somehow muster another 67 runs. Great work from Wasim. Patel halfway through the 13th over. It's Travaskis who's gone out to join Paul Coughlin. Liam Travaskis picked up a couple of wickets earlier on. Coughlin defends against his former teammate. Here's the next ball. Driven out into the deep, and it might be another one, and it is indeed. And Coughlin goes this time. Another one for Samit Patel. It's hit to Jake Ball at long off this time. Jake Ball with really good catching record. Coughlin has gone, only made 2 on his return to Trent Bridge. And Samit Patel now joining the list of wicket takers. 2 in the over, 84 for 8. Coughlin faced just 4 deliveries. Matty Potts coming in at number 10. That just leaves Nathan Rimington, the skipper.
Well, this has turned into an absolute shocker. Calamitous. Who's out there in the middle now then? Oh, Travaskis. I didn't get Travaskis written down.
And some decent catching by the Nottinghamshire outfielders today. Really good work by Moores for the stumping. That was pivotal.
It was right at him. It was hit hard, but it was straight at him.
84 for 8. There's Patel to bowl to Potts. Well stopped by Christian on the offside. And that's the end of the 13th over. Just 2 from it. Another tidy one from Patel. 3 overs, 1 for 8 his figures. Just not been able to get him away. And the slower bowlers, Patel, Carter, Imad Wasim and Stephen Mullany, very much enjoying themselves. Durham require 67 from 7. It is only 9.5 and over, but when you get down to the last 3 batsmen, it's a tall order.
Have they just lost 2 on 84 there?
Yeah. It's going to be Carter to bowl to Liam Travaskis.
Carter around the wicket. Travaskis plays it out in towards Christian in the covers, and Potts sets off and is told to get back. Cut backward point, no run off Travaskis. I'm just looking at 12.3 and 12.5 for those wickets. Around the wicket he comes. Travaskis is nearly caught. Ooh, now then, he didn't hit it. It's come off his pad, I think. Bounced out the keeper's gloves, and then he caught it at the second attempt, but it was off the pad. Carter balls swept by Travaskis, and that's gonna. Oh, it's just held up nicely in the outfield there. Backspin on it. Otherwise, Samit Patel wasn't going to get there, and it was going to go for 4 towards square leg.
Just plugged a little
Even
bit.
the spin's going Nottinghamshire's way at the minute.
Yes, didn't skip on. Did hit one of the bare patches on the outfield, would have raced away for 4, but hit the lengthier stuff.
This is turned round the corner by Travaskis down towards fine leg. Samit Patel will come round to cut that off in front of the Hound Road stand. 2 runs. 63 more needed to win. If Durham win from here, then we're going for something pretty spectacular. but I can't see it coming.
Oh, it's creeping up now, it's over 10.
Well, they're going to run out of batsmen before anything. Carter comes around and bowls. Turned by Travaskis out through mid-wicket. 1 run. And that's 14 overs gone. 89 for 8, 62 needed.
Just 5 from that over. Matt Carter's finished. Had a little bit of tap early on. 1 for 40, Matt Carter. But Notts collectively, through their slower bowlers, have made life hard for Durham, and it should be the W for the home side now, with 62 required from the final 6. Samit Patel's going to bowl his final over. 3 overs, 1 for 8. 62 from 6 is the equation. So Liam Travaskis and Matty Potts are going to have to up the tempo a little bit if they can. Tall order really for the lower order batsman. There is Samit Patel bowling to Travaskis, works this down the ground for a single. It's a better bat than a number 9, isn't it, Travaskis? Where would he bat for the seconds? No, where would he bat for the seconds?
Don't know. Never watched the seconds.
90.
His highest score in this format's only 26.
Patel now to bowl to Matty Potts. Comes between the umpire and the stumps. This one's hit. Well, Samit Patel, I think, was a little disgruntled there that he moved across to try and stop it, and then found himself running into Travaskis, the non-striker, and by then the ball had gone past them both. Hates conceding runs. 91 for 8. Balls to Travaskis, who comes at him and plays a really sensible looking shot down the ground. If he isn't somebody worthy of a higher spot than number 9, he's certainly giving a good account of himself here. But I guess the acid test is going to be if they can start finding boundaries, because that's what's going to be required if they're going to get close. Wide of the off stump and punched away towards the ropes. Work for Jake Ball to do. Can't get there, and it is a boundary to Matty Potts. Wasn't amongst the wickets today, Potts, so might have been saving himself up for a grandstand finish with the bat. 96 for 8 in the 15th over. Durham require 55 now from 32 balls. Patel comes into
music
bowl,
was still playing.
Paul Baldwin said, hang on there, fellas, before Patel had let go of it. 96 for 8. Here is Samit Patel bowling once more. Tickled away fine. Can they get 2? Should be able to get 2 as the throw comes in. Nicely done. Dan Christian doing... No, it's not. It's Peter Trigo, I beg his pardon, in the sun. He's forgetting that Trigo's on as the sub fielder. 98 for 8. Travaskis and Potts both level on 7s. This over has produced 9 runs and there's 1 ball left. So they're doing what they need to do in this over, especially if they can get a single, which they can. So 10 from the over ends with Durham on 99 for 8, and Samit Patel has bowled out 4 overs, 1 for 18. Once again doing a very good job for Notts, and he also picked up a very sharp catch indeed early on to get rid of Behardine. Well, I say early on, that was the 5th wicket that went down. Wasn't required to bat today, Samit Patel, but he's done his bit with the ball. Durham 99 for 8, need 52 from the last 5. Gloucestershire require 54 to beat Somerset from 5 overs. They're 5 wickets down. Northants 103 for 6 require Somerset's 89 from 7.
Somerset's run rate's slightly better than Durham's as well, so they'd go through on that if they both finish on 9 points. Unless Durham can win this, of course. How many overs to go? 5 to go. Mullaney back into the attack. Potts on strike. He bowls, and it's off the pad. And plays a bit of a false shot there. Potts thudded in low. Mullaney's still asking the umpire, why is that not out? They run a leg by. In fact, he hasn't signalled a leg by.
No.
It's come off the bat. There's your answer. It's come off the bat.
First game I think that's going to finish is Surrey about to beat Kent in the South Group. Now, if Sussex can win their game, that could be bad news for Kent, who've been one of the front runners. They they could miss out.
Mullaney bowls, and Travaskis plays this down to Duckett at long on for 1. 50 needed to win from 4.4 overs.
In fact, I don't think they will. No, Kent will go through, but it's going to drop them down the pecking order there, and could potentially be one of those in line to play knots. Let's have a look at that in a bit.
Mullaney bowls. It's up in the air, and it's out towards the square leg boundary. It's safe. 1 run. Scott Steele's season came to an end with him run out on 2 at 3. Coughlin was out for 2. Steele has ended up with 40 runs. Oh, that's a top edge, and that should be out. It's sailing towards the square leg boundary, mid-wicket.
Oh!
Horrible miss, and it's gone for 4. It's bounced backwards. I think, was he caught by the sun there? Is that Imad? Who's that?
No, that's Trigo.
Trigo. It was... He had a run about 3 or 4 yards in from the ropes, but he just went down on one knee to get it, and it's bounced through his hands and gone for 4. I think he seems to be suggesting he lost it in the sun, perhaps. That's not the sort of thing you'd expect him to do. It was straight at him. Travaskis on 8 when he was dropped.
Would have been Mullaney's 100th wicket for Notts, but wasn't.
Mullaney bowls, and that's an attempted sweep, and he's missed it.
Slower ball again.
Tom Moores has thrown the ball at the stumps, but Travaskis is on one knee with his foot in the crease. Now what they're saying? Bales ended up down there. Bales ended up the other end. How's that happened? Didn't seem to throw it that hard, did he, Tom Moores?
Sometimes you don't have to, do you? You can just...
The bail has gone 22 yards.
It took a kindly bounce, as they say.
Bernard says it's like an earthquake has hit Durham today. Chris Pinkney says it wasn't it. Catch probably didn't make much of a difference to Notts total, in all honesty, but the stumping call possibly has. 45 needed from 4.1 overs, but only 2 wickets remain for Durham.
Bit of a mothers' meeting going on down there. I'm not sure. Oh, what are we waiting for? We've got... I think we've got to sanitise the ball. I'm not so sure. Durham are 106 for 8, and not should win from here, really. Durham require 45 more. They've got 4 overs, but they are down to numbers 9 and 10 at the crease. It's been a little bit of a... self-implosion by Durham. Those 3 wickets that went down in the same Imad Wasim over early on, the 5th over, that really derailed them, and by the end of it they found themselves 5 wickets down. But since then Notts have just chipped away. Their slower bowlers, Imad Wasim, Samit Patel, Stephen Mullaney and Matt Carter, have all done a fine job taking pace off the ball. We haven't yet had a batsman in the game reach 30, which is a little bit unusual. Ben Duckett's 29 is the top score. Another over's come to an end, so the equation here is Durham 107 for 8. Remember, this is a match that Durham need to win to have an outside chance of scraping through to the quarter-finals, so they'll be going for it. They need 44 from the last 4 overs, but they've got numbers 9 and 10 at the crease.
Importantly, though, this partnership has accrued 23. It's the 3rd highest partnership for Durham this afternoon. 44 needed from 24 balls.
Imad Wasim, who's back.
Oof, get after that. That's hit the seat so hard in the pavilion. It's a 4. But where the black sheeting is for the sight screen, it's bounced up high and nearly reached the upper tier there. Must be some springiness in that cover. Liam Travaskis just took a couple of steps down the track there and absolutely thundered that back past the bowler.
Well, he's on his 2nd innings, of course, having been put down in the previous one by Peter Trigo, so he's going to try and make the most of it. Perhaps it's his day, he thinks.
3 on the deep on the leg side. Imad Wasim balls again, and that's pulled down the leg side for 1. Carter cuts it off. He stumbled slightly. He's at fine leg on the disc, so I thought he was going to topple over and miss that one for a moment. That brings Potts onto strike, who has 10 from 7. Durham needs 37 to win from 22 balls. Are we going to see some drama yet? In comes the bowler. That's pulled out towards deep mid-wicket for 1 run by Potts. Didn't get hold of it, but possibly a good thing because there was a fielder right out there.
Duckett, who's another good catcher in the deep.
Travaskis, the left-hander, going to face the left armour over the wicket now. He comes in and bowls. That's slammed back to the bowler via the ground. That made a noise. Ricocheted around, echoed around the ground. The bowler again. This is going to go for 6. Wow, he's hit that straight over Hales at long off on the boundary for 6 and put it into the front of the Hound Road stand. Durham needs 30 from 19 balls. Travaskis was dropped on 8, wasn't he?
He was indeed.
Here's a bowler again. Travaskis pulls that off towards the long leg boundary for 1. And that is the end of the over, so 29 needed from 18.
Spoilt him had Wasim's figures there, went for 15 in that over, and all of a sudden he is 2 for 24 from 3 overs. 29 required from 3. And not fair to say could do with a wicket. Didn't think they'd get into this position, but when you only put 150 on the board, you are vulnerable. If somebody can go out there and play his shots, just play a canny little innings. Travaskis now one of the top scorers in the game, but a couple more, he will be the top scorer. Going to be Jake Ball to bowl. It was Potts, wasn't it, the second 6 in the over. 122 for 8. Ball bowls, and this is clipped down the ground, too long on, where Duckett is now fielding.
They have had a couple of last ball wins here, Durham. I think they've had 3.
Yep.
3 on this ground.
They have indeed.
There was one game where Tom Latham ended up on 99. He was at the wrong end when the innings came to an end. Couldn't get his 100.
Having a real old chat here. Captain Christian with his bowler, Jake Ball.
Ball in. Is this my end, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And this is played by Potts out towards square leg for 1. I keep seeming to switch ends.
Well,
I think it happens during your bulletins, doesn't it? Sun continues to shine here in Nottingham. A little bit of a breeze now picking up. Do you see the trees moving gently in the distance?
There's 2 overs to go after this one. Wasim's got 1 over left. Christian's got 2. Jake Ball will probably bowl the final over. Mulaney's got 1. Interesting to see who gets the 19th over.
Travaskis is on strike. It's a slower ball. It's played out towards the covers. Sensible bowling there from Ball. 1 run. Sun reflecting off the vehicles heading along the Loughborough Road. End up coming round down the motorway today and in from the Kegworth end on that new road. That's quite a decent road now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent route in.
26 required from 15 the equation.
Ball round the wicket. Oh, tries to York the batsman. Potts comes down the track, slams it into the floor. It spins awkwardly on the floor. And he's snatched at the second attempt by the bowler. This is a good over from Nottinghamshire's point of view.
Yeah, 3 from 4 balls. Needs to finish it well. Ideally could do with breaking this partnership, which is now worth 41.
Ball in, bowls. It's a short one. It's gone through to the keeper. Is that high or not? It's allowed. It's allowed. Couple of dot balls there.
Liam Travaskis is now the joint highest scorer in the game on 29.
Welcome back to listeners on 5 Live Sports Extra. Durham need 26 to win from 13 balls and 125 for 8. Travaskis has 29, Potts 12, partnership of 41, and Potts is on strike as ball bowls, and he pulls that out towards deep mid-wicket, and it's going to be caught here, and he is, and he departs for 12, and that will bring the last man to the crease in Nathan Rimington, with Durham still needing 26 to win from 12 balls.
Yeah, it's
Clark the catcher.
It's one of those that, you know, Notts have been in charge for large chunks of this Durham innings, but they really needed that wicket. The partnership had been worth 41 for the 9th wicket. Liam Travaskis in particular playing his shots. He's still there on 29. He's hit a couple of big sixes recently, and Durham, from almost being 100 to 1 outsiders, just eased their way back into it with 1 or 2 decent overs, and it was just starting to look as if it was going to go right down to the death. It might do yet, but Jake Ball absolutely delighted to get that wicket, and it was an over also that only went for 3 runs. And Nathan Rimington, the Durham captain, comes out to the crease with his side needing 26 from 12 balls. Notts definitely favourites. Dan Christian's going to bowl the 19th over. Did send 1 wide down the leg side in his last over, and did have a bit of a problem at Grace Road on Friday evening when he just couldn't get the radar right. Notts don't need him to bowl any extra deliveries here. 125 for 9. Christian to bowl to Rimington. They did cross while the ball was in the air, but now Travaskis can get down to the danger end as Rimington is away for a single. Earlier on in the afternoon we saw Australian bowl Australian as Dan Christian was bowled by Nathan Rimington. I'm sure Christian would love to repay the compliments, but he's got to bowl to Travaskis first of all. 126 for 9. Notts made 150 for 7 with 4 batsmen getting into the 20s, but nobody reached 30. Couple of wickets for Travaskis, who's now playing a fine little innings at the tail end here for Durham. He's on 29 from 19. Christian bowls to him, and he's pushed it to backward point. Samit Patel will field, and they take a single. Durham haven't helped themselves with a couple of run-outs, both executed by Imad Wasim, who's also picked up a couple of wickets. One really sharp bit of work, Tom Moore stumping Alex Lees out for 28. That was a real momentum changer and potentially a game changer. Lees was going on very nicely at that stage. 127 for 9. 24 required from 10 as Dan Christian prepares to bowl to the Durham number 11 Rimington. He does, and Rimington forces it into the offside out to Joe Clark. Notts, if they win, will be the number 1 seeds in the quarter-finals. I think whatever happens now, they're going to be guaranteed a home quarter-final, but it looks very much as if they're going to top the North Group with just the 1 defeat at Leicester on Friday evening, just to spoil their copybook. 128 for 9. Travaskis has got 30 now, is the top scorer in the match, and he's on strike. Clips this one away to deep mid-wicket. They take a single. 129 for 9. Ones are no good at this stage.
Yeah,
Martin.
the boundaries have dried up now, haven't they? It was that Jake Ball over which just brought calmness again. It was after Travaskis had hit a 6 and a 4 off Imad Wasim. How many did he go for in that over? 15, wasn't it, Wasim?
Something like that, yeah. 129 for 9. 22 required from 8. 4 maximums hit in the Durham innings. 2 of them by Travaskis, but it's Rimington on strike at the moment, who chops this one away to backward point. Joe Clark's out there. They might push hard for 2. They will push hard for 2. That's good running. But Clark just slightly off balance as he fielded it, and just steadying himself gave them that split second to make the decision to come back. 131 for 9 under cloudless skies at Trent Bridge. It's been a glorious day weather-wise to conclude the qualifying matches in the North Group.
Our Surrey commentator colleague Mark Church says neat and tidy again from Surrey, a home quarter final guaranteed on Thursday week for them.
131 for 9. They've defeated Kent. Next ball is again hit firmly by Remington, but can't find the rope. And Christian's over. His final over comes to an end. He's 3 overs 1 for 22 today. Tidy enough from the skipper. 132 on the board with 1 to go means that Durham need 19 from the last over. 19 runs from 6 balls, last pair at the crease. It is almost the stuff of fairy tales, but they could just squeak Durham into the quarterfinals if they can somehow do it. And Travaskis, as we've seen, can clear the ropes. He's hit a couple of sixes away, but he's at the non-striker's end, and it's going to be Jake Ball to bowl it.
Well, if Ball's over, this over is as good as his previous one, Durham will be all out, and they'll be 16 short, something like that, because he went for 3 for 1 for the last over. Really just put the kibosh on things. Took quite a bit of the pace off the ball as well, didn't he?
Ball 2 overs 1 for 7. A little surprising that he didn't get his full complement, but the slower bowlers have done well for Notts.
Remington's on 5, ball right arm round, Yorks him, and Durham have lost by 18 runs, so Notts finished top of the group, and Durham, it would appear, are done and dusted for this year as their run comes to an end. They won 4 in a row. I'm just going to cough, sorry. Turn my microphone off and then back on again there, sorry, apologies for that. They'd won 4 in a row going into this one, and had they won here they would have equalled the club record of 5 straight victories. But that over, where it all imploded, started with Ben Rain being caught for 7 off Imad Wasim's bowling, caught by Alex Hales in the 5th over. Alex Lee stumped 2 balls later, and then Beddingham run out for 1 at the end of it. And Durham never really recovered from that point. 37 for 4 they were at that point, needing 114 to win, and that was just at the end of the 5th over. So it was calamitous to say the least. And Nottinghamshire took control and didn't really have too many worries, in all honesty. There was a partnership of 41 for the 9th wicket, but it was still going to take some doing, because when Potts and Travaskis got together, 67 was still needed. So that is that, and Notts go on to quarterfinals day. And I don't think Durham are going to manage to get the snookers they need, so their season appears to be over.
Thanks, Martin. A couple of the left-arm spinners have had decent days individually. Imad Wasim, 26 not out at the back end of the Notts innings. That now looks significantly more important, I guess. Getting Notts up to 150 for 6, and then Imad Wasim getting a couple of wickets, 2 for 24 for the Pakistan international. And similarly, Durham's slow left-arm spinner.
So the target for Durham was 151, and they finish 132 all out, meaning 2 points for the Outlaws. Luke Fletcher joins me again. A very good bowling and fielding performance there from the lads.
Yeah. We touched at half-time on the pace-off would probably work well on this surface, and if you look up there at the figures, Imad 2 for 24, Samit 1 for 18, Mulaney and Christian both with a wicket, Ball with 2 as well. So yeah, I think it looked like Notts were in control pretty much the way through that, didn't it?
It did really, and it was a pleasure to watch. Top of the group, 7 victories, 1 loss, a couple of washouts. Just an overall view of the group stage campaign so far. Well, it's not so far, it's finished. Yeah,
I think it speaks for itself really. I mean, dominated pretty much throughout. That one hiccup at Grace Road, but you'll get that, and the lads bounced back well today against a pretty good Durham side who are coming off the back of 4 wins in a row. So yeah, I think you're going into the quarterfinals now. It's back here at Trent Bridge, which is good for us. We've got a great record here, and it's not a nice place to come as an opposition. So hopefully 1 game away from another day at finals day.
Indeed, and do stay tuned to the social media channels for news on that quarter-final. I'm just going to say to Mr. Imad Wasim, if you'd like to come and join us, Fletch, if you just don't mind passing over. Well done, sir. Nice to see you again. Hit a few sixes, got a couple of wickets, couple of run-outs. Not a bad afternoon.
Good game. I think 150 was a good score. The ball was not coming on nicely. Unusual Trent Bridge, but what we thought in the middle, if we score 150, it's going to be good score.
So that sort of partnership that you had with Stephen Mullaney towards the end, obviously that accelerated the score a little bit. Those crucial kind of like 30 runs just puts Durham under a bit more pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes in T20s you get wickets like this, and then you have to reassess. Rather than scoring 130 all out, you score 150, and we thought it's a power score. Obviously you have to take wickets, but you can see it's very hard to hit.
Yeah, and I mean, for you personally, coming back to Trent Bridge this year, have you obviously enjoyed coming back here? You've had a very busy summer, obviously, but nice to be at Trent Bridge, even though there is no fans.
Yeah, the fans would have been nice, but obviously I played for Norths last year. Same as great squad, good management, so I really enjoyed it last year. So I wanted to come and play this year as well. I was really keen, and thankfully they picked me up, and we're here.
So we haven't seen much of you with the bat this season because you've not really been needed. I'm just going to say bye-bye to Luke Fletcher. You can go. Thank you very much, Fletch. Go and sign a few more books. But yeah, we haven't really seen much of you with the bat because you've not been needed, but you've actually scored your highest score for Notts Outlaws today. So a nice time to do it before the quarter-final.
Yeah, I thought I should have scored more. I faced 24 balls for 26. I should have scored 35 plus on that wicket, but when I went upstairs I knew the ball is not coming on nicely, so we tried, me and Mully, and we took it to 150. So obviously we have a very good team, batting side, so it's rare to get a chance, but once you get a chance you should grab it.
And for you personally, a lot of times you've opened with the ball as well. It does feel that in T20 more pace is coming off the ball. Do you relish that opportunity though, I imagine?
Yeah, I always, I love bowling anywhere. It doesn't matter. Yes, you will go for runs. Yes, you take wickets, but it's a different challenge as a bowler. It makes you learn a bit, and it makes your game to another level. So I always try to get difficult way out, not easy way out, in bowling especially. So thankfully it's coming on nicely. Let's see how we go in the quarters.
So just finally talking of the quarters, a little bit of a break now, 10 days until that quarter final. Is that just about recovery, just getting a bit of rest in?
Oh yeah,
I'm over?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to London. I'm gonna visit London and stuff. My wife is here, so it's her birthday today. So we won a game as well.
Happy birthday! There you go.
And today's the day. I got wickets. I score runs. My wife's birthday.
Doesn't get any better, really. I mean, what plans are you taking her out for dinner?
Yeah, I will take her out for dinner tonight. So
nice.
I was really happy the match is daytime, so I can take her out at night.
Well, we did that especially for you see, because we knew that. So no.
That's brilliant, ECB.
But obviously, well done today. You were the man of the match voted for by the Outlaws fans, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Rest up nice and easy for obviously the quarter-final.
Thank you.
And we will speak to you there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You can just leave the mic there on the floor. But yes, my thanks to Imad Wazeem there. We will be speaking to the Outlaws, Dan Christian, very soon, but we'll be back after this very short break. So Outlaws captain Dan Christian joins me now. Congratulations first of all, quarter-final, secure top place. Just your overall view of that one game against Durham though.
It was a really, really good scrap, I think. It wasn't the normal wicket that we're used to here at Trent Bridge. It was pretty slow and gripped a bit. So great job from all the batsmen really. No one really stood out, but everyone chipped in and got us to a pretty defendable total. And then we got off to a really good start. All the bowlers were really good, and we fielded brilliantly as well. A couple of run-outs, which is a nice reward for the hard work we've been putting in at practice.
I was going to say, because it didn't look like a normal Trent Bridge. 150, we're used to scores of 190, even 200. So at the halfway stage, 150, was you happy with where your team got to?
Yeah, we were. We were pretty confident. Every batsman that came off said it was really difficult. It wasn't different. It wasn't an easy wicket to score on. Very different to what we're used to. So, particularly some of their spin and their seamers, the slow balls were holding in the wicket, and then the odd one had skid through. So it made it really difficult to get into any kind of rhythm as a batsman. So we were pretty confident with 150, and our bowlers obviously watched how difficult it was for our batsmen and went out and executed accordingly.
So group stage done, 7 victories, 1 loss, a couple of washouts. What's your kind of view of the campaign?
Yeah, really pleased to go through with 7 wins. We would have taken that at the start of the season for sure. So, and the most pleasing thing was probably the bounce back tonight after that pretty ordinary game for us at Leicester. We didn't play as well as we could have the other night there. So to like I say, bounce back like that, particularly the bowling attack to bounce back the way that they did was really pleasing going into the quarter.
Do you feel that the squad as a whole, the team, players are in good form and looking ahead to that home quarter final, which is what we aim for here?
Yeah, it was actually nice today to get sort of Imad and Mulaney and guys like that to get a bit of time at the crease today actually, because they haven't had much because the boys up the top have been doing so well. So nice for that to happen, and nice for the bowling attack too to be really hitting their straps now going into a quarter.
So 10 days until that quarter. What's the plan for those 10 days? A bit of rest, just kind of regroup and really get recharged for that quarter? Yeah,
exactly right. A couple of days off, which will be great. It's been a pretty congested schedule really. That 5 games in the last 10 days or so and 3 in the last 4 days. So it'll be nice for everyone to have a break and rest, and any little niggles to give them a bit of a rest as well, and then get back into it ready for that quarter.
If the weather stays like this, perfect for a round of golf.
Exactly right. Yeah, hopefully it's like this all week.
Exactly. But congratulations. Obviously, we will talk to you ahead of the quarter-final. But well done to all the lads. And like you say, 7 out of 10. It's pretty good going, isn't it? And first tick on the board, that home quarter-final. Yeah, for sure. It's been a really good season so far, and it'd be nice to cap it off with a win in the quarter and get to finals day again. Exactly. Well, my thanks to Dan Christian. You're free to go now, sir. Thank you very much. You've just popped that onto the floor. Thank you very much. So, my thanks to DC there, and that does bring a close to the footage and for the T20 Blast campaign group stages. So, as I said earlier, keep an eye on the social media channels as we will keep you updated on the quarterfinal. But from everybody here at Trent Bridge Live, we thank you very much for watching.